last night the interview happened, they were going on.
All right,
and
so
then
there we were, cruising through the new
Don't worry, keep talking, Brad.
So what,
we're not
what that
supposed
tells
to be
me,
on. There's going to be some stuff that's popping up. But we're live for you. 800-990-3776 as Counsell reportedly headed to the Chicago Cubs.
Well, what it tells me is he or they or somebody tried to keep it quiet. And keeping it quiet, that tells me all I need to know about how he knew this was going to be reacted to, how he knew he would be seen as a traitor, and how he knew that this would not go over well. And this was bigger than just taking a different job, right? Because it was out there that he was going to, interview with the Mets and interview with the Guardians. And I think even as Wisconsinites, we looked at that and said, okay, I get it. But he certainly interviewed and had conversations with the Cubs. It was kept quiet for a reason, because This is Benedict Arnold type stuff.
Yes, and this is why this is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history, because of the fact that he understood what was on the line. He understood that moving from Milwaukee, not just to any team in Chicago, but to your rival in Chicago and the Chicago Cubs was something that everybody will be up in arms about. It's an absolute betrayal. Him growing up in this city, him understanding what that rivalry means, to have a pick at so many different organizations, whether it's the Mets, whether it was the Guardians. He was in the news about maybe the Astros, a championship team. He chose the team that we hate here in Milwaukee, and that's the Chicago Cubs. And I'm telling you, this is the biggest betrayal in sports history for Wisconsin.
Put that on Twitter, Chris, at KBN ESPN. Is this the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history? Next to me is Greg Matzik, who will be able to provide some insight. Are you good to go, Greg?
Yeah, all good. Whatever y'all need here. But I would challenge that maybe, Kyle. Maybe Favre to Minnesota for the Vikings, but he was a little more washed up, so I get what you're saying here.
Well, so here's the thing with Favre to Minnesota. We traded him somewhere else, and we kind of did him, but we can act like we didn't. Favre was playing games, but Favre did ask. I don't know how genuine it was. I was a kid. He did ask, say he wanted to come back to play football, and the Packers said, no, we're done with you. We're going to move on. This situation, I'm not sure, was it we're done with you type Brewers thing, or is we can't afford to pay you, or what it was, but this just seems a little bit more betrayal to me than somebody getting traded somewhere after saying he wanted to come back. And did Craig Counsell say he wanted to come back?
No.
He left it very, 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 very vague. And that is what Brad had said that caught my attention was we heard maybe we knew he was interviewing with the Mets. We knew he was interviewing with the Guardians, but nobody heard a peep about the Chicago Cubs.
He knew that for a reason.
Yeah, and so that's I heard somebody upstairs, Terrence and Tosa, call him a snake. I mean, this feels kind of slithery to set everyone up, to not be transparent, to manage this team in which the state you grew up in, to help build it, and then to go to the Cubs. That is treason. I don't care what anyone freaking says.
And did they fire David Ross yet? Greg, has David Ross been fired yet, or is he taking somebody else's job? The fraternity of managers that they have, he's going to put somebody else out of a job.
So let's back this up a little bit. Okay, so my day got started this way. I had multiple people really tight in the industry saying it's going to happen today. We're going to know today what's going on. So it coincides with reporting that we've heard throughout the weekend. I also had somebody pretty tight to the situation tell me the Brewers have an offer on the table for Counsell to be the highest paid manager in baseball.
No.
I saw your report of that.
Highest paid manager in baseball.
No.
Which would make this even worse.
No.
Now, it's not to say any other team couldn't blow that out of the water, but the Brewers
from the Brewers' perspective, from what you had heard, they were willing to put an offer based off what they had known of market value for coaches, that he was going to be getting the highest number.
And I'm told it was a multi-year deal in front of Craig Counsell to be the highest paid manager in baseball. You can do a little deductive reasoning. Last year, the highest paid manager was about $4.5 million. So my guess is somewhere around $5 million, give or take, right? But what is unclear is if the Brewers ever had an opportunity to counter an offer from another team. Somewhere along the line, Craig Counsell decided, you know what, the New York thing, it's probably not going to work. I love David. It's just not going to work. Cleveland was always viewed as kind of an outsider, though I would say Stephen Vogt would have been on the short list of candidates for the Brewers opening, but now he's manager of the Guardians. To your point, Brad, about trying to keep it silent because you know the vitriol between Cubs fans and Brewers fans, I don't look at it that way. I look at it this way. The Cubs had an existing manager. right? You can't let this leak if you have a manager in your dugout. David Ross is under contract. The other openings that Craig was being linked to, there was a vacancy, right? And Craig himself is a free agent, ready to go shop, which he did. That is not the case in Chicago. David Ross is under contract. He was coming back. He had all designs of coming back next season. So whether it's Chicago, which does make it look a little worse, or Philadelphia, the fact of the matter is he's replacing an existing manager. You can't let that get out.
How often does that happen in baseball? Because you don't really see that where
Not common. No.
An existing man, especially somebody of Craig Counsell stature, and David Ross is very well respected, played the game, very well respected.
He was part of their World Series.
So that is, it just seems very odd for this to transpire, especially that the way it did. And now hearing that the Brewers made an offer, so it now just makes me question whether or not he just really wanted to move on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do give the Brewers credit for continuing to, whether you want to give them credit or not, they, as the smallest market, were in the 20 to 15 payroll as the smallest market. But that's as high as they were able to go, and we haven't seen them in the top 10 of spending. The Cubs are going to spend. He wouldn't make this move and keep it quiet. He wants to win a World Series as a manager. He made that very clear. And to me, he made it very clear that he does not believe that he can do that as the Milwaukee Brewers manager. That's what this tells me. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I think that's spot on.
And for those who missed it, Craig Counsell reportedly headed to the Chicago Cubs. So we're on early. We're taking until 5. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, joined by Greg Matzik of 620 WTMJ, who's been tapped in from the Brewers side of things and what they were offering and his insights from all day.
So I'm curious to see what happens next. Obviously, now you've got a guy in David Ross who probably feels very much burned in Chicago, and it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that David Ross could be the Brewers manager next season. It's not. I think he's a good manager. I don't think he's Craig Counsell, to be clear. I think Craig is the best manager in baseball. Other teams clearly have recognized that as well. But it's not unreasonable to think that David Ross could be managing in Milwaukee next year. I think he did a fine job in Chicago with a team that outkicked its coverage. I mean, they performed. It kind of fell apart down the stretch, but I think he's a respected manager in baseball. Stephen Vogt would have been on that list, in my opinion. He's got ties to Milwaukee and obviously wanted to get into that level with his career, managerial level. So it's a developing story, to be sure. But I look at it from Craig's standpoint. What is appealing about Chicago? Ben, you nailed it with payroll, right? It's just sort of unlimited. You make a mistake on a free agent, all right, we'll try again next year. You make that mistake in Milwaukee, and I feel like it sets you back 3 or 4 years. You can make those mistakes in Chicago. He doesn't really have to uproot much of anything, right? Maybe gets a little condo next to Wrigley, keeps his place in Whitefish Bay, hops on the train, spends the certain times of the season in his own bed.
You just think about loyalty. You think about allegiance. There's just certain things, and I would like to think. And Brad, maybe you could speak to this. You were a professional athlete, and I mean, you grew up a Packer fan. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it faded away as you played professional sports. But how tough would it have been, like, if you had an offer that was the Packers offer you $5 million a punt, and the Bears offer you $5.5 million a punt? Which are you taking?
Well,
and both teams are about the same. Actually, the Packers being a little bit better than the Cubs, you would say?
I think you need to make the comparison. What if the Packers offer you $5 million and the Bears offered you $6.5 or $7 million?
Okay.
I mean, that's a couple $1 million. That's something. I mean, I would think about it hard.
Let me ask you from this standpoint. Let me ask you this, Brad. I'll take Kyle's question. You need to take that into consideration. What if you were a free agent and you're the best punter? You were viewed as the best free agent punter available, and you had the opportunity to set the bar for what other great punters in the NFL could make. Because I'll guarantee you this, every punter in the world is going to cheer Brad Nortman on to make the most money he possibly can.
No,
every manager in baseball is cheering Craig Counsell to make as much money as possible.
But my thing is like using Brad as this example. Like, no offense to being a punter, this is a manager. This is way bigger than if it was a punter going. Like,
I'm just thinking about loyalty. If he played for the Packers for 6 seasons and they won, and I'm just curious,
Because there's more than just your own pocketbook that I would think you have to think about.
He is such a unique track, and it would be like me growing up here, playing for the Badgers, and then playing for the Packers, and then going to free agency, getting offered slightly more with the Bears. I would say I would entertain it for sure. It's different when you put on the colors of the team you root for. I will say there's more pressure. There's more tightness. There's more emotion to it. I would probably, depending on how big, at some point the money would speak too large, right? If you're talking about a couple $100,000, I'd stay with the Packers. If you're talking about $1 million or more, I'd go to the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. So you'd be treasonous as well.
Yeah, you turn down $1 million?
Yeah, but well, I would like to say I wouldn't, but then also as a professional, you do got a mouth to feed and kids to feed and just like a life to live. And so that's tough.
Here's what's different, though, is
I'm more of a fan
he played how many years in the MLB? He played like 17 years, and he's already been a manager for 10. I feel like money was not a huge part of this equation. It would be like me saying, hey, I don't think the Packers can win a Super Bowl, but the Bears are more Super Bowl ready, and darn it, I want to win a Super Bowl before my career's
That's where
over.
it is. Again, my biggest thing is this tells me he did not believe he could win a World Series, so he's going to a place where he thinks he can win a World Series. That is the only answer I can give. 800-990-3776. A little roundtable right now as we take it to 5 o'clock on ESPN Wisconsin. Greg Matzik here, Brad Nortman here, Kyle Walls here, now joining the conversation in gear I don't like him wearing, but I understand. Gabe Neitzel. What's up, Gabe?
Hey, Ken Rosenthal just tweeted it's 5 years, $40 million. So it's $8 million a year, which is tying the managerial record that Joe Torre once had. It's that simple. I think first of all, Brett Favre going to the Vikings is 1,000 times more traitors than this.
So we have it on Twitter, Gabe, and there's a lot of recency bias. 78% are saying, yes, this is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history. All of the replies say Favre.
So, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Like, that's the Aaron Rodgers looks like a god right now.
I appreciate Kyle getting lost in the moment and the passion. However, but all the reporting that happened around this was that Craig wanted to reset the market for managers. And Terry Francona had last year highest paid manager, Craig. I know you mentioned this earlier, Greg, at $4.5 million. So my guess is the Brewers deal was somewhere in the fives neighborhood, right? This blows it out of the water. 7, it seemed like 7 was going to be the number when the Mets were involved for a team to come in out of nowhere and give him that. And it says even north of 40. So it's probably even going to be a little bit that. So Craig Counsell is going to be the highest paid manager of all time. All the reporting that was done around this always pointed to Craig being, when he was a player and a member of the Players Association, being a huge advocate of people getting paid what they're worth. And this was, to me, simply he was going to the highest bidder. And there were reports over the weekend from the Journal-Sentinel saying the Brewers, the ball was in the Brewers' court, that they were going to have an opportunity to match. And ultimately, they probably decided that they didn't want to spend the extra $3 million per year last year he was getting 3.5, so even more than that, based on whatever their offer was. They didn't want
around
to spend
$4.5 million more per year. The Brewers would have to add to his contract.
My guess is they ultimately decided not to.
I mean, this would have made Craig Counsell the second highest person on the payroll, only behind Christian Yelich at $26 million. I'm looking at it right now. Freddie Peralta makes $5.7 million right now.
Yeah, our arbitration is going to settle that out a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, so I'm not sure if this includes.
I get your point, but
this is huge.
Just to clarify, it is not clear if the Brewers even had an opportunity to counter. I'm not saying they would have, but it's not clear if the Brewers had an opportunity to do it.
Todd Rosiak saying $5.5 million was the
right. That sounds about right. And
for Craig Counsell
for the Brewers offer. You're saying,
yes,
Gabe?
for the Brewers offer was $5.5 million per season.
That's significant.
Yeah, 800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-ESPN. We're taking it through everything right now. It seems as if it's a pretty confirmed. I've seen just about everyone take this.
If we're talking dollar figures,
yes,
and those numbers are being thrown out there, yes, I think it's safe to say
we don't have the email from the Cubs PR staff that says, "Hey, this is inked and done," but we're just about there to this point.
And technically, Charles Woodson was never signed by the Packers. Then they never sent that email.
To me, again, I understand the money aspect and what you had said about, him wanting to be paid as the highest manager. But if we're being honest, he accomplishes both things in one. He was never going to be able to be the highest paid manager and not be able to go to a place where they weren't going to be able to compete for a World Series.
What does it say about the Brewers, though? Like, the fact that this man left and thought that, chasing his money, which he should have, that the Brewers just were never going to be able to compete and win championships, because you said, or somebody said, is that ultimately he wanted to win a championship, and he wanted to be in a place that put him in a position to win a championship, and it seems like he may have gotten both because of the money that Ben said, the payroll, the Cubs are willing to spend the money, and then Gabe reporting how much he's going to make per year. Does this just say that the Brewers have no chance of competing for a World Series title? You got a guy who never won a World Series?
No, you just watched the Arizona Diamondbacks win 84 games and make their way to the World Series. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but you still have again, right now in the moment, I understand it sucks. And they haven't won a World Series. That sucks. And to watch somebody who grew up in Whitefish Bay, played for the Brewers, go to 5 of 6 playoffs of the last 6 years, it's going to hurt. But it doesn't mean that the Brewers can't do it. For right now, I can understand the vitriol you feel. Ben DePere says, Craig is from Milwaukee. This is a backstab. If he wanted to go to the Mets, that's fine. But the Cubs, Favre, you knew he wanted to go there. This is backstabbing like no other. And that's where I say what Greg Matzek said earlier. The other options that you heard reporting of Craig going to were places that had vacancies within their organizations at the managerial position. This had to be a little bit more under the table because David Ross was the manager of the Cubs. I mean, was is a big word now.
It's again, I think it's that simple, and I think it's simple as the Brewers not. I blame the management. Like, think about it. Craig Counsell was here for how many since 2015? Last 8 years, the winningest manager in. I mean, the golden era of the Milwaukee Brewers is the Craig Counsell era, until somebody comes in and takes them to another World Series. The golden era of the Brewers, you mentioned it, 5 out of 6. It got to a point where he let his contract expire so he could be a free agent.
Shouldn't have let it get to that point, you're saying.
We talk about that with Goody all the time, with Devontae Adams. And yes, it's great for the Brewers on the way out the door. Oh, we're offering this the way the Packers did the same thing with Devontae Adams. Well, at the end, we offered more than what the Raiders did. He decided to go to the Raiders because they wanted to paint that narrative. But they let it get to a point where Devontae had enough and made the decision to walk out.
He wasn't prioritized the year prior.
I am curious to know what's been going on the last 2 years, if there's been anything behind the scenes that led to David Stearns making the decision he made, and now Craig Counsell making the decision that he has now
Especially
made.
Because they are two different decisions that have not gone to this. Like, you're not just, this isn't like, oh, Stearns went to the Mets and now he's going to take Counsell with him. These are two separate decisions. Mm-hmm. Two separate decisions within the organization in which management, again, you probably weren't going to get David Stearns to stay from a money standpoint. And from a Counsell standpoint, I think the biggest thing is when you have made the playoffs as a franchise 9 times, I believe, in their history, and 6 of them have come with Craig Counsell. And if you look back, I mean, 5 of 6, and then you look back in, 2011, in which they made their run? Mm-hmm. This is the golden era. Craig or not, like, this is something you have needed to prioritize. And I had said as we were joking around, like, I'd give him a lifetime contract. You know, where are you going to, like, you should have done that a while ago. Clearly, as you say, Gabe, I'm an idiot because you know why? It's way too late to even think about that. Because if I'm taking the smallest market team to the playoffs 5 of 6 years, I have some value. And you're seeing that value on the money. I don't know if it's a 2-minute break, 4-minute break, what we got? 4-minute break. Normally we're 2 at the top of the hour. We'll be back. 800-990-3776. Is this the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history? Kyle says yes. Gabe says Favre. We'll hear from all of you. We're on the text line. We're on the calls. We're on the YouTube. I just called it the YouTube. We're on Twitter, actually.
How old are you?
Too old, apparently.
About to be a father. That's what happens when you become a father.
Talking like a dad. The Twitter. The YouTube.
Gonna have to get you some therapy sessions with that progressive doctor.
Geez. 800-990-3776. More reaction to Craig Counsell to the Cubs. Yes, that is a real sentence that is happening. We hear from you and all of us next.
On you. Breaking news on ESPN Madison is presented by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or visit metrokiaofmadison.com.
Slated to undergo an MRI today. ESPN reports the initial fear he's got a torn ACL and concern that his...
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau.
The standards have been set from quarterbacks that have been here before us, and you're trying to continue to raise your game until you get to that bar.
This is your Green and Gold Fix on 100.5 ESPN.
You're going to evolve throughout the course of the season. It's always the fine line of what's too much.
This Green and Gold Fix is driven by Metro Ford.
A 20-for-26 performance by Jordan Love helps the Packers snap their losing streak, beating the Rams 20-3 at Lambeau on Sunday afternoon. After the game, Love saying felt like the team really needed it.
You know, just to come out here and I think just put it together in all three phases. You know, offense played good, defense balled out, special teams we were able to make some plays, and you know, it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but I think just the position we were able to put ourselves in and to come out with a win, it definitely is going to help us, and we just got to keep stacking it going forward.
Packers had lost 4 in a row before the win. They'll take on the Steelers in Pittsburgh this weekend.
Purchase, finance, or service a new or pre-owned Ford at Metro Ford of Madison on the east side today.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters, and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Attention value hunters, save on new Black Friday Now deals this week at Fleet Farm. Enjoy 20% off select sizes of our chocolate candies. Get a Food Saver vacuum sealing system for just $69.99. Stay warm and cozy with Mega Warmer 10-packs, 2 for $10. And stock up on softwood fuel pellets, 2 bags for only $11. Save big on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Nortman.
Nortman, it's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
We're here.
You brought me to a cornfield to see a scarecrow?
Well, the mortgage lender said the money for our home is in Scarecrow.
I think they said escrow.
Oh.
There's a lot to learn when buying your first home. That's why UW Credit Union offers home loans with local expertise and a lowest closing cost commitment to make the journey easy. UW Credit Union. Apply today. Equal housing lender.
Hey, it's Alex Strofe. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview of the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
Spend Black Friday at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, and you got a chance to make it a Cash Friday. On Friday, November 24th from 5 to 8 p.m., 21 winners will spin the prize wheel and take home between $500 and $5,000 cash each in our Cash Friday promotion. Plus, November 24th is Ho Chunk Day, and we're celebrating by giving the first 500 guests that visit our Rewards Club booth $25 in rewards play. Make Cash Friday part of your holiday tradition at
Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
Hey, it's Alex Rowe. Football season is officially here, which means you better be doing it right with my friends at Door County Distillery. If you're a whiskey fan, you can't go wrong with the 9-time award-winning single malt whiskey from Door County Distillery. Maybe you like gin. How about that classic green bottle of gin from Door County Distillery? Or maybe it's the cherry brandy to mix up in your old-fashioned. Whatever it is, choose Door County Distillery. Visit their website, doorcountydistillery.com, for the retailer nearest you and all of those unique cocktail recipes. That's doorcountydistillery.com.
Stabbed in the back. Craig Counsell is leaving the Milwaukee Brewers for the rival Chicago Cubs. Your place to react is 100.5 ESPN.
Breaking news in the baseball world, specifically for the Milwaukee Brewers. Craig Counsell has accepted. Well, again, I got to watch it. Craig Counsell has been offered a lot of money, and he's likely going to be taking it, and he will likely be managing the Chicago Cubs. This from, I think, Gabe, you alluded to this, Todd Rosiak. The Brewers offered Craig Counsell in the neighborhood of $5.5 million per season, which would have made him the highest paid manager in the MLB. Everyone expected the Mets to throw out around $7 million per season, around there. And out of the blue, no pun intended, I guess, the Cubs come and offer just around $8 million a year, which, as Jeff Passan calls it, an industry-shaking deal. And so while initial shock may feel like this is a large betrayal, it does hurt emotionally, but ask yourself if you were Craig Counsell, right? And you had an opportunity to make $5.5 million a year with the Brewers, or $8 million, which is shattering what the highest paid manager is right now. Ask yourself this. Would you take that? I take emotion out of it for a second. There's going to be emotion. Would you take that? It's hard for me to come up with a reason. He's done so many great things for the city of Milwaukee, for the Milwaukee Brewers. We've mentioned it, 5 of 6 years for the Milwaukee Brewers. Add this to this. He was offered $8 million a year, and he hasn't made it to a World Series. That is telling.
It's the highest contract for a manager in baseball history. So it's not just the extra, $2.5 million that you're going to be getting per season. It's additionally, oh, by the way, you get it with the prestige of biggest contract ever for a manager in that sport. And that says a lot about Craig Counsell and how he is perceived within Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it really does. And again, if you ever thought, we were having conversations, I heard YouTube dinguses, Kyle Wallace and Brad Nortman, say, maybe it's time for somebody new to shake it up. Oh, yeah? You mean it's time to get rid of the highest paid manager in all of baseball when he was in your grasp?
I mean, the same people were like, oh, maybe it's time to move on from Aaron Rodgers.
Well, come on, wait a minute.
For the record, I said
I'm here. These same people, I'm here, Gabe.
Kyle, Brust, and Nortman with Gabe Neitzel here. We're taking you through Craig Counsell reportedly taking a deal, $8 million a year to the Chicago Cubs.
For the record, I said I wouldn't blame him if he goes to a different place. I wouldn't blame him.
So you wouldn't blame him, not the Brewers should move on.
No, yes,
okay.
I said, because the question was...
I like putting words in people's mouths.
Yeah. Creating controversy. That's been Brust.
He's putting you in a bad spot there.
I know, right? That's who I deal with on a daily basis.
Brad.
I think about it, too, because I know that the Wisconsin natives and Brewer fans look at this, and it feels like treason. It feels like a traitor. And I agree. Actually, a little part of me feels like that, too, as a Brewer fan. But just pulling up Craig Counsell's life, so he obviously grew up here, but he went to school at Notre Dame. And then of his 16 years, I'm just trying to tally it up quickly, he played 5 for the Brewers. So he only played about a third of his career here at the Brewers. He kind of played other places. When you're thrown in this professional setting where he is on the move and he's seeing different things from different lenses, you lose a lot of that truly rooted early fanhood, and you see it as sort of the pure Major League Baseball. It's less about each individual team and having loyalty there, and you see it more holistically as the Major League Baseball in total. So I think that even though this I don't think was an easy decision for him, I think he knew that there'd be blowback, and I think he knew that would be something he'd struggle with. The minute you lose like that, I am a Brewers fan, and that's how I identify, to where you are more of a professional in that world, it's not as hard as you'd think it is to go to the rival.
Craig Counsell
be that guy.
reportedly headed to the Chicago Cubs for $8 million a year, easily making him the highest paid manager in the MLB. We'll continue to react with you. I got to keep a clock somehow, so we're going to do this break now, and we're going to hear from Dom Catronio. You heard him on WTMJ all season long. He joins us to break down everything Craig Counsell and his move to the Chicago Cubs. That's next.
A new era is ahead for the Milwaukee Brewers. Craig Counsell is out as manager. What's next for the crew? We're talking about it right here.
Prairie Athletic Club will meet all of your family fitness needs this time of year, and it's all under one roof. Hi, this is Sarah Tauscher. Registration is now open for fall and winter youth programs, including basketball, soccer, swim lessons, and so much more. Hurry now, the PAC is offering their best membership specials for the remainder of the year. Stop by Prairie Athletic Club today, or visit prairieathletic.com to check out the youth programs and membership specials. That's prairieathletic.com. Prairie Athletic Club, family fun community.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. Despite entering Saturday's game against Indiana as 9.5-point favorites, the Wisconsin Badgers now 5-4 after the loss. Here's head coach Luke Fickell after the game.
Obviously, really disappointing. For all of us, a lot of reasons, a lot of things out in front of us. The whole objective today was to come out, create our own energy, start fast. And probably the number one thing we didn't do was come out, create energy, and start fast.
The Badgers will have another opportunity this Saturday as they host Northwestern to become bowl eligible for the third longest streak in the nation, 22nd year in a row.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round. No interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Visit PellaWI.com.
Ben Brust to tell you about one of my favorite teams in the area, Zimbrick European. For over 3 years, I've trusted them with my car buying process, and I'm never going anywhere else. From Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, their pre-owned and Sprinter vans, they have something for everyone. Don't drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary. I love the sexiest car on the lot that I found this time, a nice Zimbrick Mercedes. Find what you love. Test drive, and they will make leasing affordable. Zimbrick European.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Love is in the air and behind center for your favorite football team. SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin knows that the kitchen is the heart of your home. Let them help you fall in love with it again. In just a few days, SprayNet can have your kitchen cabinets looking like the day you first saw them. Their exclusive painting technology and technique will create a new look for your kitchen that is quick, affordable, and beautiful. Schedule an appointment today with Dale, the owner of SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin. Go to spraynet.com.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, a special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
Leaving your Milwaukee Brewers and heading to the Chicago Cubs. 800-990-3776. I'm Ben Brust alongside Kyle Wallace and Brad Nortman. We're from Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Chris Larson running the show, but we are also joined by Gabe Neitzel of Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Mornings 94.5 ESPN. $2.99 Batting average.
Sick.
Gosh, do you have one hit that you're like, I wish I would have, like, was there a bunt that you didn't beat out, or?
So my second to last at bat of my college career, second baseman made a diving play
What a
on
jerk.
a ball in the hole that would have gotten me up over to 300.
What a jerk. Dom Catronio also joining us. You've heard him on 620 WTMJ after Brewers games all season long. Dom, welcome into the dissecting of what the hell is going on with the Milwaukee Brewers.
My phone hasn't stopped buzzing.
Are you trying to be like Rosenthal, Shams, Woj?
I've reached out to a few people. I've always said in my role, two doors down, I'm not a news breaker. I'm a news reactor. But all of a sudden, I became a news predictor. If you saw my tweet right before the news hit the wire, when it became clear, Ken Rosenthal reported that, okay, the Mets are hiring who they're hiring. The Guardians had already hired Stephen Vogt. Okay, Craig Counsell's not going to go to the Mets, but he's not going to be in Milwaukee. So I was just starting to brainstorm, okay, well, maybe Boston, because they got a brand new regime with Craig Breslow and everything. So, okay, maybe that could work. Maybe Miami, the connection always with the Marlins and the World Series and the game tying sack fly, yada yada. And obviously then Skip Schumacher's already mad. Skip could be traded to San Diego. Like, man, there's got to be one more team. Rule of threes. We work in the media world. Rule of threes. I'm like, you know what, Chicago? David Ross is and I couldn't come up with a real reason why they would do it. I didn't expect them to be the team, the mystery team. So I just said to watch the world burn. No, so I just said to watch the world burn. Send. First tweet I see, Craig Counsell is going to be the manager of Chicago Cubs. And my phone has not stopped buzzing since.
So you broke news?
Nah, I fake predicted news. Got lucky.
Yeah, and so how do you've been around the team all year long. As Gabe had mentioned during the break, I believe, Adam McCalvey reporting that Craig Counsell is calling Brewers players right now so they hear the news from him, which I think we all know. I'm sure they saw the news unless you're like, I think it was, what was it, Jair Alexander, who was driving to 1265, not knowing that, Rasul was traded?
A whole day later.
Well, I mean, it's a wild world.
How do you think the players will take this now, knowing that David Stearns is no longer with the franchise, and now you lose Craig Counsell, the Corbin Burns contract, and where he's going to potentially be at? Are they going to move him?
One other move that happened today, I want to make sure I get this in before we forget it. Eduardo Brizuela leaving the organization is a massive move behind the scenes.
Now, who is that?
He is the guy that basically you can thank for Jackson Chourio being in the big leagues next year. So Eduardo Brizuela is a massive piece of the international scouting world for the Brewers, a massive piece as far as what the Brewers have been so successful in finding these maybe unheralded international prospects to become stars in the big leagues. And Eduardo Brizuela leading was a massive domino to fall this morning. I don't know where he is going at this point. So I want to make sure I got that in before we move on to the news moving and how the players are reacting. We heard it when the Brewers were eliminated that Craig Counsell is the best manager I've ever had. I actually had a great conversation before the end of the season with Carlos Santana because he was getting ready to talk about Terry Francona leaving Cleveland. Of course, he played in the World Series with Tito as his manager with Cleveland. And I said, are there similarities? Are there differences? What was so great about Tito? You played for him, and now you've played for Craig Counsell. What are the things? And he says, honestly, they are the two best, and I can't pick one over the other. Right? This is somebody who is a veteran who has played majority of his adult life as a Major League Baseball player. He has seen plenty of managers, and for him to say Craig Counsell, Terry Francona, same standing, best managers he's ever played for. And I tweeted this earlier too, is that when it was clear that Craig Counsell wasn't going to come back to Milwaukee, and all the fan base was like, come here, come here, come here. For all the doubters who are like, what kind of an impact a manager can make, there it is. All 29 other teams are saying, I want him, I want him, I want him. And here we are now.
David Ross has had success for the Cubs. They decided, nah, see you later, David.
It's wild because I think David was a little bit hand-tied with the computers, as we know in today's game, that managers are kind of restrained a little bit of what the moves they want to make. There are always some head scratch. I mean, look at the World Series. Bruce Bochy bringing in his closer in a 6-run lead, right? That's not Bruce Bochy's call. That's the computer's call. So I think David Ross, it kind of works against him and for him, right? Like he makes a bad managerial decision with the bullpen. Like, well, it was really the computer, but then he gets all the blame. I think the Cubs are at this interesting intersection right now where if they can re-sign Cody Bellinger, they've already made it clear they're, opening up the pocketbook per se. When they signed Suzuki 2 years ago, they signed Swanson to the long-term extension. They're ready to be the Chicago Cubs, and that's the worst thing any Milwaukee Brewer fan wants to hear, that the Cubs are finally going to start throwing their weight around because they have been the sleeping giant in this division.
Yeah, and I think a lot of your conversation that you had just had right there about, like, I feel as if we don't even need to try and talk about players that had spent time with different managers and how great Craig Counsell is. He was offered more money from the Mets and the Cubs than the Brewers were willing to give. And guess what? He has not made a World Series. Now, what he's done has been tremendous, but my point is, a guy that has not even made a World Series is getting paid the most of any manager in all of baseball. You mentioned Bruce Bochy. How many World Series championships does he have?
He's got his fourth.
He's got his fourth, right? This is bigger than the Milwaukee Brewers, unfortunately. This is what Gabe had talked about. This was Craig Counsell trying to reset managerial money. And whether or not it works, it's the right thing for him to do. If his goal is to help drive up the price that managers will get paid and be at a franchise in which they're going to spend a little bit more than the Brewers, just naturally, because that's how baseball works. The bigger a market is, the more likely you are going to spend. It gives him a win-win. It may hurt emotionally, but I still have a hard time coming up with reasons to blame him for leaving the Milwaukee Brewers.
I can follow up on that, and you're absolutely right on the money was more from the Cubs. My sources indicating that the Mets and the Cubs did offer more money, but it wasn't an insignificant amount of money from Milwaukee. Milwaukee's offer was still making him the highest paid manager in baseball. And is that still less than what the Cubs and Mets offered? You're absolutely right. I understand the difference in opinion in that. I think $8 million for 5 years, too. Think about the longevity. How many managers in today's game have been in their current spot for 5 years? To be locked up for 5 years. And furthermore, not only to double down to say 5 years long, they had already signed. Ross was under contract for next year and had a club option for 2025. So they had given him longevity, saying, thanks, but no thanks. You're on your way out.
So between Counsell and Stearns and this scout that you were talking about that also had news this morning that he's leaving, is there something more going on behind the scenes of the Brewers, or is this just come back down to money, that there are more bigger pocketbooks elsewhere, and that's just something that this organization and the fans need to live with?
I think it's a mix of both, because the money's obviously always going to be a thing in this market. I understand the constant pay more, pay more, pay more. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. And you can go to the cliche of the fact that the three highest payroll teams didn't make the playoffs this year, which is a true statement. You know, look at how it worked out for the Padres, the Yankees, and the Mets. You know, it didn't work. So
D-backs won 84 games and made the World Series.
It made the World Series. And that being said, the Rangers weren't exactly cheap. They were still a pretty high payroll team, too, as were the Phillies, who were a game away from the World Series. So money certainly is always going to be a factor. When it comes to within the organization, there's all of a sudden what Milwaukee had been so known for is its stability and its impressiveness in a small market, all because of David Stearns. Obviously, David Stearns is now gone. So what happens when he leaves? There is naturally going to be movement. People always assumed that it was going to be Counsell following Stearns to New York. But I didn't buy that for a couple of reasons, just because they're not ready to compete right now. I know they have an unlimited checkbook. They're not ready to compete right now. The Cubs are ready to compete right now because next year, the Central, it's going to be wide open. All 5 teams, yes, all 5 teams have a chance to win the Central next season.
800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-ESPN. Now, Dom, you've done some payroll digging. Where would Craig Counsell be put in the Brewers' payroll?
I know this is going to really elicit some reaction here. Just to give an idea, just laying out the numbers, $8 million a year. That's technically less money than Jesse Winker made to play for the Brewers this year. 8.25 is what
How many
he made
games did Winker play?
I know what was
it wasn't all 162.
He played in 2 playoff games, though, I'll tell you that.
We know.
It's tough, man. Look, I think with Craig Counsell, I tweeted it too, is like, is he, how high is he on the public enemy rankings now, Wisconsin sports fans, right? Because if it was any of the maybe 28 other teams, right? The Cubs and the Cardinals are the only 2 teams that would elicit this kind of reaction. If he was going to the Tigers or the Yankees or the Giants, like, it'd be like, all right, well, They paid him. Good luck. Go get it. But it's the Cubs?
Yeah.
It's I-94.
His ass is going to be getting booed.
He's going to get booed in his hometown?
Rightfully so. Because, again, it's not the fact that he's leaving. You know, we expected potentially for him to leave. It's where he chose.
Yes.
Where he chose to go is the big beef that I have and the beef that many fans are going to have about this. Because think about it. As a Cubs fan, right now, not only are you rejoicing in the fact that you just got arguably the top manager in baseball, but you're rejoicing in the pain that Brewers fans have to feel and the confidence that you have that your organization now is a legit threat to not win the NL Central, but to actually win a World Series, and the pain that will cause us here in Milwaukee, knowing that we had a guy that now potentially could take our arch rival to the World Series.
But that's on the ownership. Match the offer. Pay the man what the market dictates.
I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money for a manager. I mean, this still is Milwaukee,
So,
and so I mean,
Dom, who did they pay? Just a little more than Craig Counsell this year.
Right, exactly. Jesse Winker, I can pull up the payroll here right now as far as guys that you look at. Obviously, Christian Yelich is always going to be the pick as like highest paid Brewer for a very long time. But looking at the payroll right now, I mean, Corbin Burns, with all the arbitration stuff that went down with him, he still made $10 million this year. That's how baseball structure works, right? This is going to be his last year of arbitration. He's going to get another raise beyond that. Willie Adames, he had a tough year this season. Obviously, he got paid $8.7 million this year. Okay, so those are your two best players, arguably, coming into this season, and he's going to make roughly the same as those guys. That's how the Milwaukee market can't operate like that with the majority of their budget that they would give to a star position player going to their manager.
Exactly, and so, but the return on investment for the Milwaukee Brewers and just any type of organization when it comes to it, when we talked about this a couple weeks ago, we didn't even know who Terry Lavello was. We didn't. And
Torey Lavello.
Well, there you go. That is my whole point.
That's a bad strategy.
It's not about that. But most of the times when you look at these managers, yes, you see certain guys, the cream of the crop rises to the top, and so certain guys do rise to the top. But at the end of the day, I wholeheartedly believe if the Brewers have talent, which to me I believe they have some up and coming talent, guys on the roster and coming up, that they can find another manager that can help us do something that Craig Counsell could not do. We may not make the playoffs 5 out of 6 years, but if we make 3 out of 6 years and we make it to a World Series, that's already doing better than Craig. But the goal at the end of the day is always to win a World Series. I'm
justifying that we could bring in a manager that will get you to a World Series in this market when Craig Counsell, the highest paid manager in all of baseball, couldn't do it.
I'm just saying, but that's not the whole point. Is that you never know. People come out of nowhere and lead teams like the Diamondbacks to a World Series.
But when you look at what the Diamondbacks had, especially offensively, and the top 2 pitchers, like they still had talent. Like they had more talent than the Brewers had. In Major League Baseball, home runs are such a big part of the game. Being able to, especially when you hit to the postseason.
If you look at the postseason numbers, if you hit home runs, you were winning that series.
How many Brewers, Kyle, had 30 home runs last year?
You told me.
0.
You told me 0.
Big old goose egg. Like they just don't have they don't have a lineup that can drive the ball out of the ballpark. The Diamondbacks, those teams we were just mentioning, the Phillies, the Rangers, all those teams had players that could drive it out of the ballpark. And the year that the Brewers had that offense, they barely had any pitching. He made Ulysses Chassin look so damn good. I mean, Wade Miley had a career resurgence, and he should be thanking Craig Counsell for every dime he's made after 2017.
So do you all believe that because Craig Counsell is gone, the Brewers have no chance to try to repeat and win the NL Central, or repeat and win, go back to the play? Are we saying that,
the clubhouse broke when Josh Hader got traded? They're losing a manager that took them to playoffs 5 of 6 years.
Who chose to leave? If I'm a player in that locker room and I saw, listen, I understand that I'm in a smaller market, the smallest market in baseball, I believe, media-wise, correct?
Yes.
And they offered $5.5 million, what's been reported out there, which would have made him the highest paid manager, but Chicago, a big market, just overpaid and outbid you. Like, well, it's tough. You shouldn't be that upset.
You would take it too. We got to hit a break. We'll be right back talking Craig Counsell to the Cubs, reportedly to make $40+ million. I would do it. You probably would too, even though you're probably hurting. We'll react more next.
Betrayal.
This is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history.
Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs.
He chose the team that we hate here in Milwaukee.
Your place to react is 100.5 ESPN.
Liberty Station American Tavern and Smokehouse isn't just a barbecue restaurant. Fish fry, walleye, and vegetarian options are available, and they have a menu that's sure to please everyone. Liberty Station smokes their meats daily with a 1,000-gallon custom smoker, giving you the freshest experience possible. Enjoy happy hour with daily discounts on both food and drinks at their large bar with 20 draft taps and multiple TVs to watch the big game. Be sure to check out their sprawling patio with an indoor and outdoor porch area too. Liberty Station off the Beltline on Rimrock Road.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. Despite entering Saturday's game against Indiana as 9.5-point favorites, the Wisconsin Badgers now 5-4 after the loss. Here's head coach Luke Fickell after the game.
Obviously, really disappointing for all of us. A lot of reasons, a lot of things out in front of us. The whole objective today was to come out, create our own energy, start fast. And probably the number one thing we didn't do was come out, create energy, and start fast.
The Badgers will have another opportunity this Saturday as they host Northwestern to become bowl eligible for the third longest streak in the nation, 22nd year in a row.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round. No interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Team, it's snowing again tomorrow. They're predicting 2 to 3 feet.
'Tis the overtime season for Frank snowplows.
Kelly, can you take another shift?
Let it snow. Quality driver applicants.
Hey guys, know anybody else with a D license?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Do more together this holiday in a new Chevy. Take on more adventure in the strong and capable Chevy Silverado. More confidence in the Chevy Equinox, winner of the J.D. Power Award for initial quality among compact SUVs 2 years running. And more value in the all-new Chevy Trax with an available 11-inch diagonal touchscreen. Bring the holidays together in a new Chevy. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today. For J.D. Power 2023 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
The first college football bowl game ever played in Wisconsin is back. The third annual Culver's Isthmus Bowl returns to Sun Prairie Saturday, November 18th at 2 p.m. Featuring teams from the WIAC and CCIW conferences, the Culver's Isthmus Bowl showcases some of the best Division III college football teams in the country. Listen live on 100.5 ESPN or visit isthmusbowl.com to purchase tickets and find more information. The Culver's Isthmus Bowl, Saturday, November 18th on 100.5 ESPN.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Betrayal. Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs. Your place to react is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Chime in on the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line 800-990-3776.
Do you blame Craig Counsell for taking $40 million to go to the Cubs? Probably not when you look at it holistically, but emotionally I can understand seeing him go to the Chicago Cubs, putting on that jersey, and coming back to American Family Field, his home state. He is going to be booed like crazy.
I might go to the game just so I can boo.
Well, it'd be a nice change of pace to not see as many Cubs fans in there.
This man!
You think there's going to be less Cubs fans and now the Craig Counsell is their manager in Milwaukee?
I'm saying that it would be nice if Kyle showed up to help that.
Kyle, is this undue?
Kyle's going to be...
Wait a minute, you guys just let me know that's the premium ticket now.
Yeah, there's no way Kyle's paying.
spending money on that. You kidding me?
800-990-3776. I'm Ben Brust, Kyle Wallace, Brad Nortman. We're Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. We'll be taking you all the way to 5 o'clock. Gabe Neitzel off the golf course and golf shoes came right here to help us out along with Dom Catronio. But we also would like to welcome in right now. I think she's hot and heavy on this. Jen Latta of Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Morning 7 and 9 on 94.5 ESPN. Your initial reaction to Craig, Jen?
My initial reaction is I understand people's frustrations, guys, but underneath it, I hope there's an appreciation for what Craig Counsell has done for this organization. From a player standpoint, from a manager standpoint, from a local kid, done good, made it to the top standpoint. We root for our own in Wisconsin. We want Wisconsin people to have success. I understand that the Cubs are the rival. I understand that you don't want to see him lead that team to success at the Brewers' expense. But I feel like we're ignoring the fact that Craig Counsell is a Wisconsin dude who has done well. And this to me screams the classic, and I love to quote a Big Daddy or an Adam Sandler film, but this screams, you're mad at your dad, not me, I forgive you. I think Brewers fans are mad at the circumstances, which is that their organization, the one that they root for, that they bleed for, that they, would do anything to see get to the World Series, win a World Series, is not in a financial situation where they can compete with the heaviest hitters out there, pun intended. And that's who people are angry at. They're not mad at Craig Counsell. He's going to get the ire of the frustration. It's all going to be aimed at him. But they're mad that, baseball is not fair. And unfortunately, in this instance, somebody with deeper pockets went out there and plucked your guy and gave him a lot more money, not insignificantly more money, a ton more money to do the same job with better resources. And you're mad at him?
Yeah.
There's an absurdity there that I hope people can recognize.
So Jen, in essence, I do agree with you, but I mean, you're talking to fans and you're talking to people who care so much about this team. You may be right, but I feel like there's a 24-hour vent period here of getting all your frustration out.
Sure, vent. But again, the point that I think that needs to be noted is, Dario Gumbawali went out there and kicked a field goal yesterday. Did he do it for the Packers? I can't remember, guys. Did he kick the field goal for the Packers? He didn't. He kicked it for another team. Now, maybe it's different if it's the Vikings or if it's the Bears or the Lions.
It didn't beat the Packers. It was irrelevant to
But the point is that people cheer for Wisconsin guys. We cheer for guys who have come up through our systems. We cheer for people who were born and raised here. And now Craig Counsell is all of a sudden going to be the exception to that rule.
Jen, we're talking about him choosing to go to the Cubs, the one team that everybody, regardless if you watch baseball or not, you grow up around the city of Milwaukee, you hear Chicago Cubs, you say, ugh, because you know as a fan what that team is. So he understood by making this decision the backlash that he was going to get, and some of the, whether you think it's rightful or not, which I don't, the hate in the ear, fire, everybody being upset at him, he knew that was going to come with making the decision to go to that one team.
For $8 million a year, Kyle. You're a guy of integrity. I know this about you. But if the rival to Good Karma Brands comes to you and is going to multiply your salary by 8 times, or almost 8 times, you're telling me you and your significant other and your family aren't having a serious conversation about that type of generational wealth?
Obviously you have a conversation about that, but it's tough. Luckily for me, I'm not going to be put in that situation. But honestly, I've said this before. I said I've never wanted to really work in radio any other place but Good Karma Brands. I'd rather go back to higher ed than work anywhere else but GKB. I've said that before because my passion is this, but it's also being here with the people I enjoy being around. So I would absolutely turn down. We'll see how much money it is, but I would turn
right there. You can't even put the qualifier out there.
I'm not Craig Counsell. But here, based off me though, I'm loyal, I'm faithful, and it's tough. But I wouldn't go to Chicago Cubs.
See,
I would not.
You don't know that. You don't
Most
know
people
that.
will never have to make this decision, which makes it so hard for them to relate, right? And if you were going to list all the characteristics of things that people value in Wisconsin, loyalty has got to be one of the top 3. It's got to be. That's why it's such a overreaction to something like this.
And I do think it's worth noting that the Cubs put out an official statement that they relieved David Ross of his managerial duties.
Oh, really? Why?
And going forward, our major league team will be managed by Craig Counsell. We look forward to welcoming Craig at Wrigley Field early next week. Jen Latta, anything else that you'd like to chime in with?
I think it's important to remember that there are only 30 Major League Baseball teams, right? So you look at the offers that came in from those places, and as you guys have mentioned, he clearly was, whether you think he's earned it or not, because I've seen a lot of that on social media, like, well, what has he even done? He didn't get a World Series. He didn't even get him to the World Series. Sure, but the market clearly dictates that he is one of the best managers on the market right now. And so if you found someone who is willing to go above and beyond what these other teams were willing to pay, I just think it's really hypocritical for people to sit here and go, I can't believe he took that money to go to the rival. Like, Ben, you're a Wisconsin guy, right? You played at Wisconsin, and yet your significant other, the future mother of your child, went to Marquette. Like, rivalry is all great and well, but life trumps rivalries. And I just hope people consider that when they're thinking about, like, how angry they are about Craig Counsell managing the Cubs in the future, that, like, there are some things, like money, like life, that trump rivalries in sports.
Winning is one of those things, is it not, Jen? I mean, you're right. He didn't win a World Series here. He came one game away in 2018. We all know that. But maybe the Cubs pitched him an offer saying, this is our vision. This is what we see over the next 5 years with you at the helm to run one of the most historic franchises in Major League Baseball. And he's still only 2 hours away from home. So winning can certainly, he kind of gets his cake and gets to eat it too.
That's true. Is it the sound?
Hey, I appreciate you guys letting me weigh in on this. It is interesting to see how fired up people are, and I get it, right? What we love about sports, and I will never, ever
Jen,
take this for granted, guys,
I don't
is
feel
the
like you do get
emotion
it.
that people...
Like, I
get it.
I don't think you understand what Kyle Wallace is feeling right now. Like, his emotions and his feelings towards the Milwaukee Brewers that he's felt like you're asking him to put it aside because Craig Counsell took more money.
And it's not that.
No,
it's not
I'm not at all, Ben. I'm not. Don't put words in my mouth. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm simply saying here's what Kyle needs to do. Kyle needs to recognize that a big reason why he's had incredible memories as a Brewers fan for the last 10 years, for the last decade, is because of Craig Counsell. So all those moments where you're yelling your brains off when you're cheering for a team that hasn't been to the postseason in years and years.
He's got no hope.
Craig Counsell played a role in that, Kyle.
But hope
you have
was
to
ripped from
appreciate
him.
the role that he played in that, while also being disappointed that he no longer will be a member of your team.
Listen, I appreciate everything he's done, but there will always be a nasty taste left in my mouth knowing that I have to watch him come here and be in the Cubs jersey. That is just going to be disgusting
Memorial
to have to
Day,
see.
by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Memorial Day week series. Like 4-game series. 3:10 on Memorial Day. Night game, day game. So circle your calendars.
Kyle, if I can just leave you with one thing.
Please help me.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
I'm smiling.
Thank you, Jen.
See you guys.
That's Jen Latta of Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Mornings 94.5 ESPN. I want to dive a little deeper into that because I feel as if it doesn't, like, again, it's too practical. Jen's being practical. I don't think practical is what people are looking for right now. Sugarcoating what is really it is, no matter what, whether it was the right decision for him financially or not, it's still a backstab. If you go to your rival, the Chicago Cubs, it can be both. It can be a backstab. It can hurt. You cannot like him, but also appreciate it all. It's not just like, why right now do we have to be like, oh, I'm so happy that Craig Counsell's going to the Cubs? No, it's okay to
never be happy. What are you so happy? Gabe is obviously, he likes Craig Counsell to the point because he saw what Craig Counsell did. Will you ever be happy or okay with him going to the Cubs?
No, absolutely
Thank
not.
you.
And I want to hear this.
I'm blaming somebody else. Like, I'm blaming the ownership and I'm blaming management for not matching. Like, we're just blaming different people. We're arriving in the same location. Our destination, our route there is just a little bit different, Kyle.
I want to keep hearing from your emotional reactions, not your practical reactions, because this is real. Like,
Then I better step aside.
You chime in when practical is needed, but don't come up with too much practical right now. 800-990-ESPN. More next on Craig Counsell of the Cubs for $40 million. That's a lot of money.
Betrayal. Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs. Your place to react is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Chime in on the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. 800-990-3776.
Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone and let us leave a legacy on your home. Roofing, windows, gutters, siding, and decks. Can Legacy do it? You bet. Better prices, better warranties. Legacy always makes it easy. Go to legacy-exteriors.com. Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone and let us leave a legacy on your home.
Brian here from Canopy Wealth Management. At Canopy, we commit to full transparency in everything we do. Because we're a fiduciary, we strive for the highest industry standards and on our ethical duty to put your best interests first. Our balanced approach helps guide you through a complex and ever-changing landscape, creating a personalized wealth management experience. Care, competence, and clarity isn't just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
Want to join the fastest growing home solar company in the nation and work in the fastest growing industry in the world? Everlight Solar has open positions in the Madison area and is expanding to Milwaukee. As a local company headquartered in Verona, Everlight Solar offers great opportunities to gain new skills and advance your career. Don't miss the chance to join the Everlight Solar team. Visit everlightsolar.com to apply today. Save money, save the planet, and start with Everlight Solar.
Ruggability. We straight made that word up. How else to describe the otherwise indescribable rugged, capable, incredible versatility and affordability of a Honda SUV? Car and Driver calls Honda the winningest brand in 10 best history. Your kids will call it totally lit. But we like ruggability, and you'll like the incredifantabulous deals, so see your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text KING to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text KING to 42424. That's KING to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When you want to show just how you feel, come to Chalmers Jewelers. Our custom jewelers have been working day and night to come up with the most amazing custom jewelry. Truthfully, in the 30 years I've been in business, we have the largest inventory of custom jewelry that we have ever had. Amazing prices, amazing selection, and one-of-a-kind pieces. Come see our incredible variety at either location or chalmersjewelers.com.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at titostailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Broommate back tap for batch cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit titostailgate.com. Must be 21 years old to enter. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Betrayal.
This is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history.
Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs.
He chose the team that we hate here in Milwaukee.
Your place to react is 100.5 ESPN.
Hey, it's Hunter Vaughn. ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see teams making an impact in their community. Nominate your local team today at ESPNMadisonGameChangers.com.
Ruggability. We straight made that word up. How else to describe the otherwise indescribable rugged, capable, incredible versatility and affordability of a Honda SUV? Car and Driver calls Honda the winningest brand in 10 Best history. Your kids will call it totally lit. But we like ruggability, and you'll like the incredifantabulous deals, so see your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin.
Craig Counsell to the Chicago Cubs. It's been official per the Cubs. Still waiting anything official from the Brewers. $8 million a year over 5 years. I can do quick math. That's $40 million. Allegedly, the only thing we know from sources, it seems as if the Brewers have offered $5.5 million, which would have made him the highest paid manager in baseball. But it's a lot of extra dough, $2.5 million more a year to become the manager of the Chicago Cubs. Now, Jen Latta joined us a second ago and talked about how you need to remember and be happy. Like we support Wisconsin, we support our own, we want them to do well. I get that. I think it's okay to be frustrated to see somebody go to a rival, but I think, Gabe, you probably have something different here because this feels as if it could have maybe been approached differently a while ago.
Yeah, Craig is a smart guy, knows what he's doing, and I think wanted to maximize his value, and that's exactly what he did by becoming a free agent manager. That never happens. If anybody who's seen the movie Moneyball, Art Howe is just complaining for the first half of the movie about how he needs a contract extension. I can't do my job with 1 year left on my deal.
Read the book. Read the book.
Yeah, look, I understand. I'm just trying to relate people. But a lot of managers and a lot of coaches, no matter what sport you're talking about, feel that way. They feel if they are a lame duck manager or head coach, they can't do their job because the players are going to look at them and be like, oh, you're not going to be here next year. Why do I have to listen to you? Craig allowed this to happen. The Brewers could have also nipped this in the bud by coming in and offering him $5.5, $6 million, whatever their offer was. If they offered that 2 years ago,
Year and a half ago, when they were making a bunch of playoff runs, they could have been like, hey, we believe in you. You've made the playoffs 3 straight years. We want to make you the highest paid manager. And you make him the highest paid manager, and then he's under contract for a longer period of time, and you're not in this situation.
Does Craig then accept that? I don't know. But
he already turned down, not 5.5 has been reported from this deal. Mm-hmm. He already turned down a significant dollar amount at the start of the year. So,
but that makes it worse.
It's one thing to lead a horse to water. The water, the horse can choose not to drink it.
But that makes it worse. That's him saying, like, I know the market value is going to be higher than what you're offering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the Brewers tried to lowball him. He didn't take the bait, and ultimately it ended up paying off for him. Because, again, if resetting the managerial market was important to him, which all the reporting seemed to be it was, the only way to truly do that was to become a free agent. And that's exactly what he went out and did. Now, the Brewers, I still think, yes, is $8 million a lot of money to be paying a manager? Yes. I don't think the Brewers can be the best version of themselves under the current format of baseball unless Craig Counsell's their manager. I just don't. And I think that if the Brewers would have paid him $8 million, it would have been worth every penny. If you can find money in your budget to pay Jesse Winker $8.25 million, guess what? He's worth how many Jesse Winkers?
Exactly.
20?
What's the manager wins above replacement?
20 Jesse Winkers this past year?
Yeah.
How many games did the Brewers win with Craig Counsell making a smart bullpen move, a pinch hit move? The way it's like, I understand the people who say, come on, Dom. Like, there's no way a manager makes that much impact on the game. But maybe it's not, in the moment, in a singular game moment, in a game decision moment. but you add them all up, and then you're like, oh wow, that's probably worth 4 or 5
We
wins.
do have a quote from Craig Counsell's agent, Barry Meister of Meister Sports Management. I think it's interesting. Having represented Craig Counsell for almost 30 years and having lived in Chicago all my life, I am thrilled to see Craig embracing a new challenge here in Chicago. Cubs fans are getting a terrific manager and an even better person. Craig has a great admiration and respect for the Brewers ownership, general manager, and fans, and for all of Milwaukee, where he makes his home. He will retain lifelong friends and memories made as part of the Brewers family. He is excited about Chicago and is happy that multiple teams have begun to embrace the enhanced valuation of the job of a major league manager.
And the other thing, you mentioned this earlier, Dom, with Carlos Santana saying, hey, this is one of the best managers I ever played for. It's either him or Tito Francona. Tito Francona is going to the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one day, Terry Francona is going to be in the Hall of Fame. So even if it's not, oh, he made the right bullpen move, he did this, he makes the team and makes everybody around them, he makes them as comfortable. He gets them everything they need. He makes them the most comfortable they could possibly be so they can be the best version of themselves when that 7-10 first pitch rolls around. And that's, again, not every manager does that. Craig does. And the fact that the Brewers let him slip through their fingers, that's a tough one to walk away from for me. When I look at, now you've lost Stearns, you've lost Counsell. How are you going to rebuild this team and replace what's been the golden era of Brewers baseball?
From a player standpoint, just recently traded away Josh Hader. What's going to happen with Corbin Burns? There's a lot more question marks and answers than it is right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Gabe, Dom, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll be doing Kyle, Brust, and Nortman from 2 to 5 here, taking your calls. I see you on hold, 800-990-ESPN. We hear from Kyle, Brust, and Nortman and you, KBN Nation, next.
Betrayal. Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs. Your place to react is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Chime in on the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line, 800-990-3776.
When you want to show just how you feel, come to Chalmers Jewelers. Our custom jewelers have been working day and night to come up with the most amazing custom jewelry. Truthfully, in the 30 years I've been in business, we have the largest inventory of custom jewelry that we have ever had. Amazing prices, amazing selection, and one-of-a-kind pieces. Come see our incredible variety at either location or chalmersjewelers.com.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at titostailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Brewmate back tap for batch cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit titostailgate.com. Must be 21 years old to enter. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hi, this is Dave Kane. You're listening to Madison's Home of the Bucks, a good Karma brand radio station, 100.5 ESPN WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Yeah, it is. And I'm Alex Strofe, your Sports Center update brought to you by Celebrations Entertainment. Complete event services for weddings, corporate events, nonprofit events, outdoor movies, casino nights, and much more. Go to celebrationsentertainment.com to get started today. That's celebrationsentertainment.com. Not a lot of celebrating going on if you're a Milwaukee Brewers fan. It finally happened. After nearly a decade as the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, Craig Counsell is set to become the manager of the rival Chicago Cubs, announced just a bit ago officially by the Cubs. In turn, Chicago has relieved now former manager David Ross of his duties. Remember, he won a World Series as a player there. So Craig Counsell to Chicago. The expectation that Counsell would leave Milwaukee is picked up over the course of the last week or so following interviews with the Cleveland Guardians and the New York Mets. According to Todd Rosiak of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Counsell expected to make $8 million per year, the most in Major League Baseball. Reaction continues all afternoon on ESPN Wisconsin. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on now until 4 p.m. And Cubs fan Jim Rutledge with you from 4 to 6.
When breaking news happens, ESPN Madison has it covered. Breaking news on ESPN Madison is presented by Metro Kia of Madison.
Get big savings and big rewards now during Provember at Lowe's. Right now, save $80 on a DeWalt 20-volt 2-tool combo kit and earn 3 times the bonus points. Redeem those points for offers like NFL tickets to regular season games, a Super Bowl 58 experience for 2, and more rewards. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts if any. Valid through 11/22, subject to change.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find bourbons and Cabernets that you adore. Our helpful guides are so friendly and nice. So many bottles to try at the lowest price. So gather with friends as you sit down to eat. Grateful for all who made Thanksgiving complete.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studios in Madison. This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, presented by Bud Light on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Craig Counsell, no longer the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, interviewed with the Mets, interviewed with the Guardians. Early reports today said he was not going to become the manager of either of those places. And with that, a team to the south. The Chicago Cubs landed Craig Counsell for $40 million, $8 million a year, making him the highest paid manager in all of baseball. We're reacting with you. 800-990-3776.
Then you said that all wrong. The hated arch rival to the South. The team, no, that's not accurate at all. Hated, despised arch rival of your Milwaukee I-94 rivalry, where we talked about the Cubs fans actually come up here to AmFam Field and outbuy tickets from us, where it's louder. Now we're going to have even more reason to come up here and rub
Cubs
it in our
fans
face.
that do come to American Family Field are very, very, very annoying. I will say that. In regards to if this is the biggest betrayal, backstab, on Twitter at KBN ESPN, is this the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history? 72% of people say yes. But just about everyone in the comments is saying Favre to the Vikings. Now, this is an interesting tweet. Brett Favre was close, but this is it. Counsell is a Wisconsin native. This is personal. And that's the thing is Brett Favre was obviously Ted Thompson found a way to bring him over here. And he made everyone feel joy when he played quarterback. But it was a lot of back and forth, retirement, and then obviously wanting to go to the Vikings. That's a crappy thing to feel as a Packer fan. But I feel like when Jen Latta joined us earlier, as we've been running since around 12:45, we'll be taking you till 5 o'clock, when she talked about, like, you need to appreciate what he's done and this, that, and the other thing, I think the it's personal thing matters here. The homegrown thing matters here. When you want to talk up loyalty and how much we want to see people do well in the state of Wisconsin, how much we all root for each other, there is an element of that feels like gets ripped out of your heart when you go to a rival. Now, if you take the emotion out of it, I think everybody in their right mind, take the teams out, right? Take the Cubs, take the Brewers, put it, Kyle Wallace, I am offering you a job, right? A position in this world. You're going to make $8 million a year for 5 years. Or would you like to make $5.5 million for 5 years? I'm just asking you that question.
Here's the thing, is that the belief in myself, I might have stayed with the Milwaukee Brewers.
I'm just saying.
In general, yeah, of course, yeah, obviously, somebody, if you're going to offer me $8 million, of course I'm going to take the money.
And so my question then is how much does the Chicago Cubs being the choice matter? And to me, I'm learning it matters a hell of a lot. It matters to the point where, like, people aren't going to be rooting for Craig Counsell anymore.
This was going to be a show if he went anywhere else, honestly, anywhere else, maybe the Cardinals. Even with the Cardinals, we don't like them, but we're like the little brother to the Cardinals because they always win. He goes somewhere else. This is a show where we're talking about, man, it's a disappointment and the ownership should have did more, but boy, oh boy, he took that big contract, congratulations. What Jen Latta wanted us to do, that's what we would have did. But you know what? He went somewhere where he knew he was going to get this type of backlash. This is on him. Gabe talked about being on the ownership. Then he made a decision to leave.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting when I read, and I can bring it up again. Counsell's agent mentioned Chicago 15 times in the first sentence. Like, to even as an agent, read the room, dude. Read the room, right? Like, that should be immediately about the Milwaukee Brewers. That should be Craig has spent time as a player, time as a coach, right? Like, that should be the lead. And so to see the excitement out of his agent, I know it's not Craig. I think that's a bad look for Craig. It's almost like when your family, like someone who represents you, it could be a family member. That would be like when somebody's family member says something and it's a representation of you. I don't like the way that Craig's manager tweeted out the excitement and the quotes about him going to the Chicago Cubs. He's Kyle Wallace, the heartbeat of the show. He's a Whitefish Bay graduate. Craig Counsell's a Whitefish Bay graduate. He's going to be giving us that real, authentic Blue Duke speak. And that's Brad Nortman, 6-time, 6-year NFL punter. We're streaming on YouTube. Brad, what do you got?
Well, I said a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the possibility of Craig Counsell leaving when he was interviewing with the Mets and then subsequently the Cleveland Guardians, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him if he left. He poured out everything he had as the Brewers manager, right? He took the Milwaukee Brewers to a completely different level, completely different area of relevancy and consistency at a very, very high level. So if he could have the opportunity to get a pay raise and to play with a roster that had a bigger payroll, I couldn't blame him. And now that I know that the final destination is the Chicago Cubs, I'm not going to lie. My initial reaction was, that one hurts. That's painful, but I still stand with it that I can't blame him. And the reason is, if we were all given that opportunity, as Ben was saying, we would all take that opportunity. We would all go to the more pay, the more ability to win and succeed, and a fresh new opportunity for him to do his goals, which is for him to be a winner and to win a World Series. Now, the reason why I think it's so painful is because this country has different values in different parts of the country, right? East Coast, I think it is purely about winning, right? If this were to happen to the Yankees and the Yankees manager went to the Red Sox, but he never won a World Series, I think they'd say, good riddance. He's not a winner anyway. If you're on the West Coast, I think it might be like, yeah, take him. He's not flashy enough. We value flash. We value good look. Wisconsin, the Midwest, Wisconsin specifically values loyalty. I'm telling you.
Yes, sir.
And powerful. More so than the rest of the country. And that loyalty is like a capital L loyalty when talking about not only the team you root for, but the disdain for your rival. And that's why this hurts so bad. There's a little bit of pain if he would have went to the Mets, because loyalty still matters then. It's like, hey, you're a Wisconsin guy. Why aren't you sticking with us? It feels like you're turning your back on us if you leave. That's what loyalty feels like when someone goes in the opposite direction. But when you go to the most hated, well, what adjectives did you use? Disdained, hated,
despised.
Despised.
They're just a disgusting rival.
Then it is that feeling multiplied. And because, so that's why in Wisconsin, particularly with a Wisconsin guy, it hurts more because loyalty is so much more valued than even most of the rest of the country.
800-990-3776. Also on Twitter at KBN ESPN. Streaming on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee. Chris, I'd also like to get this up there on Twitter. Do you blame Craig Counsell for taking the money? I mean, that's ultimately what it is. Is there any other way that we should represent this?
No, I do think unfortunately, they have a bigger payroll and they have more.
No, I'm saying, is that a fair question to put out there?
Yeah, I think so. And for the record, I don't blame him.
Like for real. Listen, I'm broke. All right, never been rich, never made $1 million. Trying to make $1 million in career, but just overall, nobody put $1 million in my face. I'm trying to get up there. But what I'm saying is this: is that at what point does money dictate every decision that you make? Because Craig Counsell once talked about he's a Brewer just like the rest of us, and it all went out the window for extra money. Is that $2 million worth winning a championship and looking back and thinking, I never did the thing
it's
that's
not
going
$2
to
million.
$3 million. Okay.
But no. Over 5 years, it's a lot more.
But that's right. I don't think it's just
$12, $15 million.
All right, $15 million.
Okay, but you're someone who said you put yourself in that situation, you're probably going to do the same thing.
People take pay cuts all the time.
It's easy for you to say.
But people always take discounts in sports all the time. Heck,
what do you mean always?
People, growing up as a kid, people talked about taking the Green Bay discount. To stay in Green Bay, people take less money. Matter of fact, I think Aaron Rodgers at the time when he signed his first contract, everybody knew that was going to be a good signing for the Green Bay Packers because look what happened years after that.
But they do that in order to. This is going to sound harsh, but they do that because they want to win a championship. They think the window and the opportunity there is bigger. That's what leads me to believe money is a component of it, and I believe you should get paid what you're worth. I think Craig Counsell knows he's an elite manager, but I think he thinks that he hit the ceiling of the Milwaukee Brewers, and it's a bigger ceiling with the Cubs.
Yeah, it's probably an underlining thing there. Like, he's not going to outwardly say that, but if we're being honest, that's got to be part of the equation when you think about what this team has to go through each year in order to put it together a competitive roster. I mean, last year they traded away Josh Hader, and whether it was right or wrong for the organization, that's something Craig Counsell is going to look at and be like, wait, he got traded to a competitor that's spending lots of money. I can make more money and receive these type of guys, not get rid of them.
Here's the thing. I'm thinking now what Jen said. You know what? We should rip Craig Counsell because Brett Bielema left the Badgers for more money and an opportunity to play in the SEC, and people to this day still can't stand Brett Bielema, and he brought the Wisconsin Badger program, and Brad, you were a part of that. He brought them to heights where they went to back Rose Bowls because of Brett Bielema and what he established. And so Craig Counsell leaving, we shouldn't give him any type of applause. You know what, Wisconsin fans, Brewers fans, we should treat him the same way we treated Brett Bielema because he abandoned us and he left us for the money instead of trying to stay here and build something special. You know who deserves all his flowers? It's a guy like Barry Alvarez who had a chance to go down to Miami. I believe he had a chance to go to Notre Dame, but you know what he did? He stayed right here with Wisconsin Badgers because he built this program up and he was going to see it all the way through. That's the loyalty that we want. That's the loyalty that we deserve. We don't deserve somebody that decides that he's going to go chase the money somewhere else. Winning a championship, the first ever World Series for the Milwaukee Brewers, that would have made him a god here. But he decided he didn't want to be that.
800-990-3776. Gary in a truck. Welcome into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
Hey, what's up, Federal?
Hey, what's up, Gary? I wish I could hear your laugh today, but I feel you're not in a laughing mood after the Counsell news.
I'll give you one before we're done. I totally agree with what Kyle just said, but here's the deal: if Anna whatever the owner dude, if he's not going to pay the money to keep the people like Craig Counsell, get out, sell the team, get a minor league team where maybe you get a chance for the Milwaukee area to celebrate a championship of some sort. I mean, you got people going, I ain't been there in some years, but what are you paying for a dog and a beer? $7-8 each? And you want people to go and pay this money, but yet you're not gonna provide a team that's got the possibility of getting a championship. Either play with the big boys or get the hell out. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Gary. That is an amazing sign-off. Give your take and then laugh right in the face of, the situation, because that's really, you're going to elicit a lot of emotion today, and Gary's just like, sell the team, you a-hole. And so here's what will be the question beyond Craig Counsell, beyond David Stearns, beyond whatever happens with Corbin Burns, beyond trading Josh Hader is, do you think you can find a manager to replicate what Craig Counsell did in the smallest market while spending around 20 to 15th in payroll in the MLB? Because that's not going to change. I don't think Mark Antanasio is going to sell this team. It's one of those situations where it's like, I know people would like Mark Murphy to probably retire before 2025. That's not happening. You have what you have. You have an owner who invested in a general manager in Matt Arnold, who came from the Tampa Bay Rays, a small market team that has had success, and that's where your trust is right now. Your trust is in Matt Arnold to continue to keep this team competitive, but he's got to hit on a manager, and it's going to be hard to follow what Craig Counsell did, because I think, again, people are saying, hey, let's replace Craig Counsell. It wasn't working, we're going to get to a World Series. Well, guess what? Craig Counsell got to 5 of the last 6 playoffs, and you've been to the playoffs as a franchise 9 times. That's over 50% of your playoff appearances have come with this manager in this decade. And to think that's just like a snap of the finger, easy to replace, it's going to be a difficult thing for the Brewers to do. 800-990-3776. Quickly, Ken in Milwaukee. Welcome to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
Hey, fellas. A few things real quick. To me, the loyalty thing's so overblown for this reason. You don't know our roster's always in flux. Our pitching staff's always, we're trying to put something together. You don't know if it's going to work. I mean, look at Coach Bud. He just won a championship for Milwaukee after 50 years, 2 years ago, and he got let go in 2 years having injuries in the playoffs. Craig could have stayed, took less. And how do you know in a year or two, we're not doing good, let's make a move? He just secured his future. I have no problem with that. The other thing is, it's always funny that people who go, well, what's the difference between $5.5 million and $8 million? Those are the same people who complain about the pennies for the stadium tax. How are you going to fault a man for taking $3 million more dollars to go do a good job? I don't care he went to the Cubs. I love it because for me as a competitor, somebody I know, I want you to be close because I want to play against you. I don't want to, oh, yeah, I think in 2 years we play that division so we might get to play him again. I love when the guy stays in division. Let's play him a couple times. Let's play him a bunch of times all year. It makes the rivalry fun because at the end of the day, the Brewers payroll and the way the team is set up, our goal is to make the playoffs and then hopefully go on a little run.
Yep.
We're never that's how we're built, and that's what our expectations are. He did that for some years. He had some success doing that, getting us to the playoffs. But I think he knew, okay, my goal really is to win a world championship. Now he went to an organization that probably offers him a little bit better chance. But as far as him making a move for him and his family, I'm all for that. I wish him nothing but good luck. Until you play us, then, yeah, I want to beat you. But I want to beat everybody we play. I have no fault for that, so I wish him good luck.
Thank you for the call, Ken, and I appreciate your perspective because it is a little bit different, right? That is the pragmatic way to look at it, right? He's doing what's best for his family. Look, Kyle, you can shake your head all you want.
I'm not going to wish you the best of luck with the Cubs. It's not like you went to Cleveland. It's not like you went anywhere. You went to the Cubs.
Yes.
That, no.
And that's the thing. You are either going to be on the side of I'm okay with it. I want what's best for him. He's been great for him.
Brewers fans should be okay with him going to the Cubs and wish them good luck. No. That's like saying, okay, we wish you good luck. We hope you win every game except for when you play us. No. I like when Chicago Cubs fans are living in misery. I love when goats walk in front of Wrigley Field. It makes me feel good.
Can you consider yourself a Brewers fan if you root for Craig Counsell with the Cubs?
Absolutely not.
Put that on Twitter, Chris, at KBN ESPN. I see the calls. We hear from you, 800-990-3776. That's next. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, presented by the official beer of the NFL. But
Betrayal.
This is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history.
Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs.
He chose the team that we hate here in Milwaukee.
Your place to react is 100.5 ESPN.
Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone and let us leave a legacy on your home. Roofing, windows, gutters, siding, and decks. Can Legacy do it? You bet. Better prices, better warranties. Legacy always makes it easy. Go to legacy-exteriors.com. Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone and let us leave a legacy on your home.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text KING to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text KING to 42424. That's KING to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it yourself at 2 convenient Madison locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Honda certified technicians handle it all. You can even get flexible payment options. Fix your car now and pay later. Apply online to see your options in seconds with no hard credit check. Make your service appointment online at ZimbrickHonda.com. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Prize Picks, the most fun I've had, winning up to 25x on my money during the football season, and now I get to play during the basketball season as well. You get to select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and you just place an entry. Pretty simple. And now you get to pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. So for me, I'm going to go Jordan Love, and then I'll go Giannis and Dallas Dame. If I want to go 3-pointers made, rushing touchdowns, can do it. Prize Picks is that simple to play. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app.
Go to prizepicks.com/WI and use code WI for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/WI, code WI.
Have you met your deductible? Are you stuck waiting in line to see an orthopedic physician? The team at Orthopedic and Spine Centers of Wisconsin can see you tomorrow. Their board-certified and fellowship-trained orthopedic and spine physicians have been treating patients in the Madison area for over 3 decades. They specialize in a wide range of areas, including sports medicine, joint replacement, spine, hand surgery, and more. Convenient and accessible, their team is dedicated to getting you back to being active and doing what you love. Visit orthospinecenters.com. That's orthospinecenters.com.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
I know you because I am you. You and me, we're cut from the same cloth. This isn't something we chose. It's not a bandwagon we jumped on when it was convenient. It's something we were born into. A piece of our identity passed down from generations before. Just like you, I was born a Brewer. This is my first love, my passion, my responsibility. It's a torch I'll carry with me always. Through the ups and the downs, the good times and the bad, no matter what, this will always be my team. Brewers baseball, it's part of who I am. It's part of who we are.
Wow. That was Craig Counsell.
From 2016.
2016. It still can ring true. The Milwaukee Brewers may be a part of him forever. but fans may look at him a different way moving forward. 800-990-3776. I'm Ben Brust alongside Kyle Wallace, Brad Nortman, Chris Larson. We're across ESPN Wisconsin.
Sounds like a phony.
Reacting to Craig Counsell signing with the Chicago Cubs for $40 million, $8 million a year. Allegedly, the reports are that the Brewers offered $5.5 million a year, which just is not going to compete with $8 million a year, no matter how you slice it. 800-990-3776. Kent in Oconomowoc. Welcome into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Your thoughts on Craig?
Hey guys, a tough Monday. Although I'm certainly very disappointed, and of all teams to go to, the dreaded Cubs, I don't blame Counsell at all. Let's not forget he completed his contractual term with the Brewers. Performed wonderfully well over the years he managed here. In my opinion, the blame in the indictment should be with the Brewers' ownership. Totally. They had, I think, 2 opportunities before the start of the season when I think he would have been willing
This
to
is
be
Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
Keep going.
KBN, presented by Bud Light.
Keep going, Kent.
And redo his contract, and then after he hit free agency. Another curious situation here with the Brewer ownership, again, showing one more time how cheap they are. And I know they have limitations in this market, but, man, we needed to keep Counsell. Very disappointing. I put it on the Brewer ownership, 100%.
Yeah, that's what Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Mornings 94.5 ESPN had mentioned. And I think that's the interesting thing here is you let him get to the end of the contract. Like it was too late, right? Like by the end of the season, since the deal wasn't done, and even by the middle of the season, right? Like if you didn't have the conversation where it was like, all right, things are sounding positive to re-sign Counsell, this was inevitable because when you give a manager who's so well respected around the Major League Baseball circles, who took the smallest media market to the playoffs 5 of 6 years in a row, you don't think big pockets are raising their eyebrows? You don't think there's going to be an opportunity for Craig Counsell? Then you weren't paying attention. The Brewers ownership knew that, and Gabe crushed this as well. How many times do we hear, whether it's trades or signings, oh yeah, the Packers were in on that, they were in consideration. That's not doing anything. That's just being in the mix. Prioritizing would be what they should have done for Craig Counsell. When they did make the playoffs 3 straight times and there was a chance to make him the highest paid manager at the time, giving him 5.5 now is just saying, or offering him 5.5 now is just saying like, hey, we offered, this is a PR play right now. We offered Craig Counsell $5.5 million. He would have been the highest paid manager, but we were outbid. No, you were outbid the moment that you did not prioritize him and let him get to free agency where he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, in life, where you direct your money reflects what you value, and I think that rings true right now, that the Brewers didn't value him high enough to lock him up early enough or give him a truly competitive offer, because clearly he's eliciting a lot more on the open market. So Craig Counsell probably looks at that and says, look, you can look at me directly for bringing this team to, as Gabe put it, the golden years of Brewer baseball, and they didn't value him as much as other teams. How can you say no to a team that values you more? Where you direct your money, you place your value, and the Cubs valued him more.
Do you realize that this is, again, the smallest market in baseball? Asking the smallest market in baseball to break that ceiling is a ridiculous ask. The fact that they did offer that contract, we should be applauding ownership for the fact that they actually did that. This team doesn't, they make money. Yeah,
they only did that because it's a good PR look, because they weren't going to be able to sign him to $8 million. So it's like, hey, we offered him something that would have made him the highest paid player. Didn't Dom say
they offered him like 4 something before the season started last year?
Yeah, but again, he called their bluff knowing his value was much higher.
But the thing, they're the smallest market. How you recoup your money, you can't spend money that you don't know you can recoup.
You could have done this 2-3 years ago, not try to do this heading into this year.
Never. It's bad for the Brewers and any other small market should never have the highest paid manager in baseball. They should never. It's just not. You're a finance guy. That's not good for finances. You spending more money than you actually can bring in and hoping and wishing that
the guy brought you to the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years, and you've only been in the playoffs as a franchise 9 years. Sooner or later, your value is what you are worth, and they are not valuing him if you're saying it's okay that they didn't pay him.
And under that argument, then there's nobody to blame. You just throw your hands up and say it's inevitable, because it's inevitable that the people with more money is going to acquire all the talent, and there's no one to blame then. Because you can't blame Craig Counsell for taking making more money for more opportunity to win and to advance his career, and you can't blame the Brewers for not paying him. Then there's no one to blame.
Let's go to Roddy in Milwaukee. Roddy, welcome into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. What do you got?
Hey, fellas. Thanks for taking my call. But, yeah, to answer the question that you answered or asked before the break was, is any Brewers fan rooting for Craig Counsell to succeed? For the Cubs, I would say absolutely not. You are not a true Brewers fan if you're asking for success with Counsell and the Cubs. But, a side note, I would say that Counsell and Ben Brust remind me of each other a little bit, as in they're people who we used to love and respect and adore, but then they made one move, and that just ruined everything. It's Counsell going to the Cubs and Brust wearing that darn Jet jersey to Lambeau. Thank you for the call, fellas.
Appreciate it, Roddy. Well done. I
work with a trader. My goodness.
No, stop.
Beautifully said.
I used to cheer for you, Ben.
Yeah, and now you don't. Even together.
I have no choice but to now.
800-990-3776. One person called from Chicago. I didn't go to him, but we'll go to my brother, who is a Cubs fan. How are you feeling about everything that's happening? But if you do anything, and I mean anything, I will drop you if you are a douche.
Well, I mean, then you should drop me already because I'm your brother. No. Anyways, what I'm calling for is I got two things. Before I bring up Counsell, it's been bothering me since you guys started this show. Brad, how do you like Ben introducing you as six-year NFL punter? Does that sound kind of awkward?
It's actually funny you say that.
6-year?
Yeah. It should be 6-year. It sort of came up happenstance because you keep on saying 6-time NFL punter, and then you added the 6-year.
And then I just made it a bit, Jonathan.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's kind of dumb. Anyways, I'm excited about Counsell, and I'll tell you why. A, the Cubs got a lot of money to spend. B, the Cubs got a lot of young players. If there's one thing that Craig Counsell has experience with, it's coaching and managing younger players and bringing them up to the system. And that's a credit to what he's done with the Brewers. I look forward to see what he's going to do with the Cubs, but it also gives the Cubs credibility in the offseason with all the money to spend to try to get bigger free agents.
I can't listen to this.
Jonathan sounds like a rational fan. So good the Cubs, I guess he's rational, but when it comes to the Bears, he's delusional.
I know, but
it's
honestly,
nice to hear rational.
That hurt my heart, because he was being rational.
Yeah, man.
He was making good points. It was like, oh, crap.
I thought
they got money to spend, and people are going to want to come work for the manager that the Cubs paid $8 million a year for because they see the damn value for him.
I mean, but also you got to.
I understand your point. I know the Brewers don't have a lot of money to spend, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt to watch him go to Chicago.
I've been here
and attract free agents.
My whole life. We celebrated signing Reggie White, Charles Woodson because the Packers actually landed the big fish. It's not because the Packers weren't good. It's because it's Green Bay. Not a lot of people want to go to Green Bay. I love the 4-1.
Dame and Giannis are here.
Yeah, Dame got traded here. If Dame had an option to sign somewhere else, he wasn't signing here. Had Giannis not been from Greece and growing up shining shoes and he got a chance to pick, he ain't choosing Milwaukee. So I'm just saying, it's hard to get people to want to come here and stay here. And when the son of your city listen, I go to the baseball field that's named after that man in Whitefish Bay, leaves you, how can you expect anybody to want to come? This is just disheartening.
Are they going to change the name of the baseball field?
They should. Actually, you know what? Let me not trip. You know what? I'm very upset at him, but let me not muddy, his legacy with the Brewers versus his legacy at Whitefish Bay. We can keep the name on the field, but we should, if he wins the World Series with the Cubs, he better donate some of that. Matter of fact, Craig, I expect $1 million check at Whitefish Bay.
Whitefish Bay Police Department, if you see the vandalism, it's Kyle Wallace doing something to the baseball field at Whitefish Bay. 800-990-3776. Keep them coming. We'll keep on coming to you. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin reacting to Craig Counsell taking $40 million to become the manager of the Chicago Cubs. More from you, KBN Nation, next.
Betrayal. Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs. Your place to react is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Chime in on the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. 800-990-3776.
All right, so there we were, cruising through the new open-air zoo, when I realized that the park was closing in like 15 minutes. Luckily, we were in my Nissan Rogue. With its powerful DC turbo engine, well, we had time to see all the animals. Whoa! And outrun a few!
Drive the Nissan Rogue.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
Metro Ford of Madison is Madison's trusted Ford dealership. Whether you're in the market for a new or new-to-you vehicle, Metro Ford of Madison has the customer service that's second to none. Metro Ford is also the home of the 2 years no-charge maintenance offer on new vehicle purchases, making it the place to go for the new Ford of your dreams. Browse their inventory, schedule a service, or see this month's offers at metrofordofmadison.com. That's metrofordofmadison.com.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
With over 25 years of experience, TLC Laser Eye Centers is a leader in LASIK. TLC has performed over 2.3 million LASIK procedures nationwide, including treatment for over 10,000 doctors and professional football player Kirk Cousins.
TLC Laser Eye Centers is a brand that's proven and can be trusted. This was not a procedure I wanted to cut corners on. I wanted to get the best quality and the best doctors and make sure that it was done to the highest level. And I felt that TLC was the brand that would do that, and so it made the decision easy for me and for my wife.
Come see why TLC is the doctor's choice for LASIK and the choice for Kirk Cousins. Right now, TLC Laser Eye Centers is offering $1,000 off LASIK when treated in November. That's $500 off per eye plus guaranteed financing. Visit tlcoffer.com today to schedule your free consultation. Must mention this promotion and be treated in November of 2023 to qualify. $1,000 off for both eyes on standard wavelength price. $500 off for one eye. Cannot be combined with any other offers. See details at tlcoffer.com.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
Hi, Dave from Canopy Wealth Management here. Our team has years of experience, which has prepared us to guide you through your life transitions and help you achieve your financial goals with confidence. We're fiduciaries and will never back gimmicks or instruments that chase single-day returns or put your long-term goals at risk. At Canopy, care, confidence, clarity isn't just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Craig Counsell is going south. Not that far south, but to the Chicago Cubs.
You're messing up. Craig Counsell has committed treason today.
Go ahead. Go on.
By basically giving a big middle finger to not only Brewers fans, but to the whole state of Wisconsin by choosing to go to Chicago. He chased the money instead of being loyal to the fan base that embraced him, loved him, cared for him.
Is he only get this reaction because it's the Cubs?
Yes, because the Cubs. He went somewhere else to be fine. That's the problem. The problem is that he went to the Cubs. The problem isn't that he left. The problem is that he went to the Cubs. If it was he left, then we're having a conversation about management not paying him or this or that. But right now the problem is where he decided to go. He understood this. He grew up here.
Does this undo everything he did as a Brewer?
What did he do?
Oh, come on.
No, I'm dead. I'm dead. Okay, so the first 3 playoffs is like great, but at a certain point, like fans were you not frustrated? Were we not? We got swept. We didn't just lose. We got swept in 2 games at home. Okay? So all I'm saying is this. Thank you, Craig, for getting us to the playoffs, but eventually you become a fan that wants to win a title. Like, going to the playoffs every year.
Yeah, but you have to be realistic with where the payroll is and where your manager is helping.
Mike Budenholzer got fired for not winning multiple championships and getting put out in the first round.
You can't compare a sport of 5 guys with the best player in the world on the team.
Haven't we learned our lesson with the Packers?
Failure.
You were saying this about the Packers.
No,
like, goodbye, Aaron Rodgers.
Quarterback versus manager. The quarterback is more important. Christian Yelich, though he's not that good right now. I mean, he's still a good player, but he's not the old Christian Yelich. But Ryan Braun in his prime, Prince Fielder in his prime, those guys matter. But the manager, he matters. But, I mean, again, I'm the person in the camp that believes the Brewers are still a potential playoff contender because of the fact that they have talent.
Do you think that is taking a hit today?
I think the talent isn't quite there yet.
That's not what I'm even saying.
Do I think
Do you think their ability to get back took a hit today?
I say this: by 2020, the Brewers will make the playoffs at least twice between now and 2026. Easily. They're going to make the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. Why? It's because they've done a great job scouting. They done a great job. Remember, David Stearns, because though he is gone, he still has his fingerprints on here. Craig Counsell, he instilled culture with this organization that's going to stick with us for a while.
What do you mean it's going to stick with you? He literally just turned his back on you. Do you want that culture to stay here?
I mean, listen, the culture of leaving is one thing, but when he was here, and this is the reason why we're so upset that he went to the Cubs, because we understand what this means for the Cubs. He was a good manager. I'm not saying he wasn't a good man. He was a great manager to the point that people say he's the best manager in baseball, as we said, without winning a World Series title. So
think that the Brewers are not going to take a hit when literally he's going to the Chicago Cubs to make more money because he was valued more by other organizations than his own?
If the Brewers keep their pitching, I know Brandon Woodruff is going to miss most of next season, but they keep their pitchers, and some of the young talent that they have coming up feels more established, the Brewers are going to be fine. They're going to be okay. They're still going to be competing for a playoff spot. Like 7 teams make the playoffs now in MLB.
Kyle,
so they'll be
that's
fine.
Just you're just living in a fake reality right now.
It's not a fake reality. So the talent is. So we're just saying Craig Counsell is the.
You're talking about young talent. You know who built that young talent over the last 10 years? Who helped them get to 5 of 6 play? Like you're literally just like tossing away the importance of the manager that got paid the most money out of any.
Forget how to play defense. Corbin Burns is going to forget how to pitch.
He's not going to be here.
Who?
Corbin.
I mean, that's the decision ownership got him on. Now they just save money. They just save money on Craig. Take the money that you're going to pay Craig and give it to Corbin.
But if you don't have a great manager, you're not going to be able to utilize the talent that's up and coming and make the playoffs like they have over the last 5 of the last 6 years.
Well, and then plus him leaving shouldn't be a big deal then.
No, again, I'm not mad that he's leaving. I'm upset about where he has chosen to go. We said this weeks ago. I was okay with moving on from Craig Counsell. I would have loved to keep him, but if he decided to leave, that's perfectly fine. The fact that he chose
Which
to
I
go
think
to
is
the
flawed in itself,
no, but
in the first part.
But he chose to go to an arch rival. All the teams, there was 28 other teams he could have went to, and he chose to go to the Cubs. It leaves a disgusting taste in my mouth. And, I mean, maybe after all the shock and the disappointment and disbelief and the hurt and the pain, once that all goes away, maybe 48 hours from now, by Thursday. Y'all say Thursday, usually I'm more optimistic. And
as you get closer to the weekend.
All right, well, check with me on Thursday. We'll see. But I really hate the Cubs. I hate all Chicago sports teams.
I wouldn't blame you if by Thursday you're like, hey, I'm still not rooting for Craig Counsell to do well with the Cubs.
Craig Counsell can kick rocks. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah, and Brewers fans shouldn't root for Craig Counsell to have success with the Cubs. I get it; he's a local guy and everything, but it is still the Cubs. If you're a Brewers fan, you can't possibly root for the Cubs.
The biggest thing is, Kyle said he chose this, right? He chose to go to the Cubs.
So Craig Counsell should have taken less money to stay with the Brewers.
Listen, if he. You heard the video, Chris. You played the video from 2016. I'm a Brewer fan. I'm a Brewer just like you are. I was raised here. I grew up here. All that is a bunch of baloney now. That doesn't make it. Listen, all we know is everybody can be paid and bought, and Craig Counsell is no different.
Austin and Waukesha, welcome into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, 800-990-3776.
Hey guys, what a Monday, huh?
Yeah, how are you feeling? You don't seem well.
I was doing okay earlier this morning. Honestly, just 2 things. One thing, whoever that guy that called saying that we should, cheer for Counsell in Chicago. That has to be the biggest L take I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, we put it up on Twitter at KBN ESPN.
Yeah.
Can you consider yourself a Brewers fan if you're rooting for Counsell with the Cubs? 95% of the people say no, you cannot consider yourself a Brewers
Terrible.
fan.
Yeah, absolutely not. The way I see it is like, imagine your wife getting into a divorce with you and then going to marry either your best friend or worst enemy. And then your mindset is, well, at least I get to see her every once in a while.
Hopefully Chris in O-Town is not listening, because that's exactly what happened to him as the infidelity victim of our show.
His friend?
His best friend, his wife cheated on him with his best friend.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we have real life
Rough.
proof of that, and so that's probably a good example.
But just one other small thing is my mindset is I'm not upset that he left. I'm upset he chose the Cubs. I was ready for him to leave because personally, I understand he brought us to the playoffs. What was it, 5 times, right?
5 of the last 6 years.
5 times. But we've only won 1 series in all of that against a wild card Colorado team.
Yeah. So again, I'm gonna push back on that, Austin. Thank you for the call. I'm gonna push back again. This is the same conversation you have with a lot of Wisconsin sports, right? Would you trade a championship for bad years? There is an opportunity that you're going to see bad years, and when I say bad years, not as consistent of success that Craig brought the Brewers. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that is a possibility when you lose as good of a manager as you're losing, as you lose as good of a general manager as you did lose. Matt Arnold has a lot to prove still. He has to take what is in the pipeline. He has to find a manager that's going to develop young players and develop young pitchers that become the bloodline of this team. That is something that they had mastered, and you can't just replace that. You have to find the perfect mix of coach and GM with Matt Arnold now in place. He's got to find the perfect coach to match the success, because going a different route is not going to be something that's sustainable for the smallest market in baseball.
One thing I don't think you understand is that there's a difference between being a Packers fan, a Bucks fan, and a Brewers fan. As a Bucks fan and a Brewers fan, we understand what losing is. And so being able to taste glory and victory, it means so much to us.
Which is why it's crazy you're getting rid of Craig is a good idea.
Because we can deal with losing with those organizations.
That's a loser mindset.
No, a loser mindset is being happy going to the playoffs every year. We want to win a championship. We want to have a parade. We want to have a title. We say, when is it going to be my chance? So seeing the Diamondbacks, and not just the Diamondbacks, but every team that have ever played the Brewers in the playoffs.
Your argument's flawed.
It's not flawed. My point is this, is with the Packers, because we have grown so accustomed to a level of success and excellence of always being there, we want to win that title. Like, we want to.
That one I understand.
I don't know any different.
But to act like for the Brewers and Bucks, if you're used to losing, you should appreciate making the playoffs.
No, we appreciate
it. It's backwards.
But the thing is that you know that this will not last forever. With the Packers, y'all tell us, oh, well, you got lucky with quarterbacks and all this and that. It won't last forever. For that, I don't understand, because I've only seen success. But for the Bucks and the Brewers, I understand that there is a window. There is a window of opportunity that we have. And once that window closes, you know what happens? Our team could suck again. And I understand that. And so I want us to win the title when we can. And Craig Counsell did not do the job that he came here to do. His job was to come. He didn't come here to win baseball games. He didn't come here.
So when he wins a World Series with a different team, you're going to realize it's not him.
No, what I'm saying, they can spend more money. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is this. The whole point of being a manager, being a coach, being on this show is we want to win everything we touch, everything we do. We want championships, and Craig Counsell did not succeed in bringing championships here.
800-990-3776. We're going to hear from Terrence and Tosa. He is I would say the Tory Lowe of the Brewers. Terrence and Tosa, TJ Hogan, former producer of Scalzo and Brust, is ready to unleash on Mark Antanasio. Nobody despises Mark Antanasio more than Terrence and Tosa. So if you think this is an ownership problem, get your ears ready, because you're going to enjoy it. Terrence and Tosa joins us next.
Betrayal.
This is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history.
Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs.
He chose the team that we hate here in Milwaukee.
Your place to react is 100.5 ESPN. Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. Despite entering Saturday's game against Indiana as 9.5-point favorites, the Wisconsin Badgers now 5-4 after the loss. Here's head coach Luke Fickell after the game.
Obviously, really disappointing. For all of us, a lot of reasons, a lot of things out in front of us. The whole objective today was to come out, create our own energy, start fast. And probably the number one thing we didn't do was come out, create energy, and start fast.
The Badgers will have another opportunity this Saturday as they host Northwestern to become bowl eligible for the third longest streak in the nation, 22nd year in a row.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round. No interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Visit PellaWI.com.
Experience, knowledge, and results. That's what you need when you've been in a serious truck accident. Call Gruber Law Offices. We've successfully helped people injured by big trucks for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Ben Brust to tell you about one of my favorite teams in the area, Zimbrick European. For over 3 years, I've trusted them with my car buying process, and I'm never going anywhere else. From Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, their pre-owned and Sprinter vans, they have something for everyone. Don't drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary. I love the sexiest car on the lot that I found this time, a nice Zimbrick Mercedes. Find what you love. Test drive, and they will make leasing affordable. Zimbrick European.
UW Credit Union presents the Prep Mania Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Dennis Semra with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
Our ESPN Madison UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, Ian Ackley from Sun Prairie West High School. You spent 2 years at Sun Prairie East. How tough was that transition?
Honestly, the transition was probably one of the tougher things for me just because I had a pretty set in stone friend group. I've grown up with those coaches. They've honestly been huge mentors in my athletic career growing up.
When you were over at Sun Prairie East, community service was really big. Who's had the biggest influence on you for that?
Honestly, I'll go back to my dad. My dad is always about giving back. If anyone ever needs to move, he has 3 sons. He'll just send a text to our group chat, boys, 8 o'clock, we're moving, blah, blah, blah. Don't even know these people, but we'd get it done in an hour. My dad's always using what he's got, and let's be honest, he's got 3 big dudes, so it's kind of like, why not, right?
Ever wonder how the best athletes find the power to jump higher, cut quicker, skate smoother, drive farther, and stick the landing? At Prevea Orthopedics in Green Bay, we know power starts with the hips. That's why Dr. Michael Ryan and our team of experts provide comprehensive and advanced expertise in hip care, unlike anywhere else. Come to Prevea Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, where we can preserve your hips so you can pursue your goals. Prevea Orthopedics, specializing in you.
Experience, knowledge, and results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. I joined the Princeton Club because I was looking for a place I could invest in my health, and the environment and the community I have felt has made it so easy for me to incorporate it into my everyday life. It doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey because they have something to offer everyone. It also goes beyond fitness. From the moment you walk in the club to the moment you walk out, there is a togetherness felt throughout the members and staff that keeps you going for your better tomorrow. Don't wait any longer and get started on your fitness journey today at PrincetonClub.net. That's PrincetonClub.net.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Outside of Craig Counsell Field later tonight, Brad Nortman, 6-year NFL punter, with us as well. Chris Larson, homeboy Chris, running the show. And we are excited to bring the fire, bring the juice with Terrence and Tosa, TJ Hogan, former producer of Scalzo and Brust. We keep him in a box, and when he's ready to explode, we bring him on the air. TJ, you are a passionate Brewers fan. Passionate. Talk me through what's going through your mind.
Kyle, what time we meeting? What time we getting over to the old Counsell Field?
I guess we get off here at 5, and I can be over there at 5:45.
Perfect. Listen, this is when the news broke that Craig Counsell decided to head 90 minutes due south directly to the biggest rival of the Milwaukee Brewers. He did not only flip the double bird to Mark Antanasio, he turned around and grabbed his crotch and gave a single other bird to every Milwaukee Brewers fan that has been behind him for the last however many years he's been losing in Milwaukee in the playoffs to subpar teams every time he makes the postseason. And he just decided, you know what? Yeah, I'll take the $8 million and I'll walk on down to Chicago and I'll be fine. They won't be too mad at me. Whatever. It's business. No, he is so far and above Manny Machado as the #1 target in Milwaukee Brewers sites. I will boo the thought of Craig Counsell the rest of my existence. If anyone ever says Craig Counsell in the household again, they will be booed. If the wife accidentally says, I've got a parent council meeting and I'm going to boo her, I don't even know what it's about. It's totally off topic. Craig Counsell is enemy #1 in the Hogan household. Terrence from Tosa, we're never talking Craig Coward again because this was over and beyond anything we could have ever expected from our fearless leader for the last however many seasons. I don't know, was it 8, 9?
Do you believe in? Have you given up on loyalty and love and?
Listen, I'm not going to also sit here and say that, like, oh, this is crazy that Craig Counsell did this. Like, you guys all talked about it. Like, it's $8 million. We understand why he did this. But we're not going to be sitting around in 20 years talking to our future children and saying, oh, I remember the day when Craig Counsell reset the manager's market. Who cares? Who cares about the manager payroll market?
Go ahead, tell them, let them know.
Like, Sale, praise you, Craig Counsell. You let these millionaires make a few extra $1 million a year. Oh, give him his flowers and thank him for losing to the Dodgers in the one-game playoff when Brent was our starting pitcher because we won 74 games that year.
Yeah, and so you don't give Craig any credit for what he was able to do with some of the rosters he was given?
Had Craig Counsell signed a 5-year extension with the Brewers today, I'm sure we'd highlight all of his wonderful accomplishments in Milwaukee. But in fact, he went to the biggest rival, and instead we should point out how he lost in 7 games to the Dodgers, who we were a way better team than the Dodgers were that year. When the Braves won the World Series, the Brewers roster was way better than that Braves roster. We just lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks, who won like 82 games this year,
84.
and we were favored, and we still lost because Craig Counsell decided, and this is where a conspiracy theory begins to grow.
I already know where you're going. Go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, Craig Counsell, he's got his eyes on different managerial positions. He's not too happy with the ownership here in Milwaukee. Oh, we're in the playoffs. Oh, we got a runner on second base with 2 outs. Let me throw in Jesse Winker to the plate. Jesse Winker batted 2 times in the postseason this year for the Milwaukee Brewers trying to win. He was self-sabotage from inside that clubhouse. He's a snake. I don't want to talk about him in Milwaukee anymore. He doesn't get Wall of Fame, Walk of Fame, little statue outside. He gets none of that. I want him booed mercilessly when he gets to Miller Park and AmFam Field, whichever you prefer. And I want him to never feel ingratiated in Milwaukee's confines ever again. And in sports, of course. Obviously,
I like
in the world,
Terrence.
we don't need to go crazy. He's a person. This is just sports world. Sports world, no one should ever give him the credit that he thinks he deserves in Milwaukee.
Terrence from Tulsa, he's bringing it.
Terrence and Tosa joins us here.
That is
I'm Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. I'll give you 30 more seconds. The floor is yours. Anything else you'd like to get off your chest because you're speaking to frustrated Brewers fans? I see Alex in Twin Lakes on the phone line. He says fans should stop going to games.
This is where
you did boycott the playoffs.
Right, believe me. This is why.
Or no, going to games.
Craig Counsell's put me in a pretzel here because it's a little crazy, but I'm going to say this.
Who's enemy #1 for you, Antanasio or Counsell?
Listen, it's Counsell. Antanasio stinks and he's cheap, but my God, he's ours still, and he's still the Brewers owner, and he's the only person who can open a checkbook.
By default, I hate him, but I have to like him.
Exactly. He's the only one who can open a checkbook and make my team better. So for that reason alone, I think Mark Antanasio is a higher standing in regard than Craig Counsell.
Did you ever
right
think
now.
you would say that?
That's shocking to me. It's shocking that this is the revelation that we've come to. But I'll say this, that in a weird way, this is going to work for Antanasio because, like Kyle and myself going to protest a high school baseball field today, this has reignited my fandom for the Brewers, and there is nothing more that I want than for Craig Counsell to lose and lose horribly and get fired. That's what I hope for Craig Counsell and the Chicago Cubs. It's all guaranteed money. I'm not taking any paychecks out of his mouth. Whatever. It's all money he gets anyway.
Legacies.
Yeah, that's for Jason Wilde when he yells at me later for hearing that clip. It doesn't matter. He gets all of his money. But I am now reinvigorated to be a Brewers fan. That Cubs game, I'm going to be in the parking lot at 7 a.m., and the brats and the beers are flowing, and I'm going to be ready to just boo at the traitor, Craig Counsell.
Do you know how much tension is going to be in them parking lots? Downtown Milwaukee, because those Cubs fans, they walk around. We'll see them at the 3rd Street marker. They're going to be even more eerie and tension that's going to be taking place because of them bringing them little nasty smirks down here, not because of the fact that, we're the Cubs, but, we got your guy.
Cubs fans are already particularly frustrating and sickening to be around. This is going to make it even worse.
And they get under our skin. I'll give them credit. They do a good job of that. But we've been dominating them in the last handful of years. And if it wasn't for Terry Francona not ever throwing over when John Lester was on I'm getting lost on a rabbit hole here. The Cubs should have never won that World Series if Terry Francona was a decent manager. And the Cubs franchise would be 120 years of complete nothingness. The Brewers are one World Series championship away from being a head and shoulders better organization than the Chicago Cubs. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, we are a better organization than the Cubs with one World Series, and it just stings me that they have one. But I hate that franchise more than any other franchise in any other sport. And the fact that Craig Counsell just said,
I thought you were saying
going
coward.
down. Yeah, Craig, well, that was a mistake. That was a Freudian slip. I would never call Craig Counsell a coward. I would never do that.
Terrence and Tosa, thank you for joining us. Brewers fans across the state feel what you are feeling. Joining us next to break it all down, we go from Terrence and Tosa to a journalist for ESPN.com, Jesse Rogers of ESPN. Will break down everything regarding Craig Counsell to the Chicago Cubs.
Can I just say one? I implore Tony Evers to erect a toll at the Wisconsin-Illinois border. So every time Craig Counsell has to come up to Whitefish Bay to watch his kids play baseball, he's got to throw money in the Mark Antanasio Manager Fund every time he crosses state lines.
That's how we're going to pay for AmFam Field repairs right there. On his back, on his check.
Yes.
$8.5 million.
Jesse Rogers joins us in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Hey, this is Craig Karmazin. Join Kyle Wallace and me every Sunday morning for Sunday Karma on a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Yeah, it is. And I'm Alex Strove, your Sports Center update brought to you by Green Bay Game Night. Join Homer, Gabe Neitzel, Mark Tauscher, and Jason Wilde for reactions and analysis immediately after every Green Bay football game this season on ESPN Wisconsin and Wisconsin On Demand. Finally got a win last night, but who gives a damn about that, as it's finally happened after nearly a decade as the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. Craig Counsell is set to become the manager of the rival Chicago Cubs. A statement from the team released about an hour ago. In turn, the Cubs have relieved now former manager David Ross of his duties. Counsell in, Ross out for the Chicago Cubs, meaning the Brewers have a hole to fill at the managerial position. The expectation that Counsell would leave Milwaukee has picked up over the course of the last week or so, following Counsell's interviews, plural, with the Cleveland Guardians and New York Mets, according to Todd Rosiak of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Counsell expected to make $8 million per year, a 5-year deal with the Chicago Cubs, the most in Major League Baseball. Reaction continuing all afternoon here on ESPN Wisconsin. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on with you until 4 o'clock, and Cubs fan Jim Rutledge joins you at 4.
When breaking news happens, ESPN Madison has it covered. Breaking news on ESPN Madison is presented by Metro Kia of Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studios in Madison, this is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN. Presented by Bud Light on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Brust and Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin. Presented by the official beer of the NFL, Bud Light. It is a victory Monday for the Green Bay Packers, but as we sit here with a Whitefish Bay graduate, we watch another Whitefish Bay graduate leave the state of Wisconsin and go on to bigger things. I won't say better things, but bigger things. As Kyle would say, he's going to he's a traitor.
As Brad said earlier, he is the Benedict Arnold of Wisconsin sports now. He has replaced Brett Favre. It is official.
On the poll right now, that is 72% of people saying he is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history. But right now, we are excited to welcome in Jesse Rogers of ESPN.com. Jesse, I just want to warn you right now. I don't know if you heard, you're with a Whitefish Bay graduate, and Craig Counsell is a Whitefish Bay graduate. I am not. Kyle Wallace is. He's taking it hard. This came out of nowhere. Obviously there were vacancies, and so was it super quiet that he was talking to the Cubs because obviously David Ross was the manager?
Of course. That's the only reason it was kept that quiet. And, it wasn't like all of October. This happened basically between November 1st and today. This came together quickly because the Cubs did not ask the Brewers for permission to talk to him because they wouldn't have been granted it. They're not going to grant that to their rival. So when he became a free agent November 1st, talks advanced quickly, and then you can understand why it was kept under wraps and how it was a little bit easier to keep under wraps because it's just a few days here. So pretty shocking news. Pretty shocking news. And from leaving his native home there and going to their arch rivals to the fact that he basically took another man's job. It's the second time the Cubs have done this. Joe Maddon replaced a manager that was in place. It's not like they fired Ricky Renteria and then hired Joe Maddon. It's not like they fired David Ross and then hired Craig Counsell. It's all happened at the same time. And in Ross's case, is a guy that the team groomed. And so it's shocking at all levels, along with that salary he's getting.
Jesse, when it comes down to this, as a Brewers fan, I look at this roster, and I don't know much about the Cubs roster, but was it just money or was it the opportunity to actually win a World Series? Because as a Brewers fan, you think that you've been almost there. You make the playoffs. You think one day you'll break through. So did it just come down to money with Craig?
I mean, that was certainly probably high on the list. I'm not going to get inside his head until we talk to him. But I would imagine this is why he let his contract run out. I'm not going to say why. I'm going to say one reason why he let his contract run out, see what's out there, make a little bit more in the pocketbook, but also maybe he wanted a new challenge. Maybe he wanted to challenge with a team that had a larger payroll. Like, there's a lot of people in life, all of us could probably say to it, that sometimes you get stale in the situation you're in. And when you have opportunities to do something else, and obviously for more money, you look at it. So I would imagine making generational type of money it had to be part of the mix, but I can't tell you for sure it was number one, number two, number three. I think we're going to hear from Craig, and he's going to say it was the whole package: a new challenge, staying in the area, getting paid, a team that wants to win. He's going to have to walk a fine line, though,
yes.
not dissing the Brewers too much, but we can all get inside his head and understand why he did what he did, even as crazy as it sounds, being a Milwaukee native and everything. But the fact of it, Wisconsin native, the fact of the matter is, it sounded like he was taking offers from all over the place, but this one was probably most interesting because he could stay in his home area.
Yeah, every single voice that is a Brewers fan, it literally just, I think that if it was anybody but the Cubs, even the Cardinals, they probably would have cared a lot less.
Yeah.
How much, again, I'm anxious to hear what he has to say. How much do you think it played into the fact that, like, there is a ceiling, right? Like, that is the nature of where the Milwaukee Brewers are. The smallest market in baseball from a media standpoint. I do give them credit for spending anywhere from 20th to 15th in payroll. But when you have to trade a Josh Hader and you're thinking to yourself as the manager, like, I continue to build, but now he can go to a franchise in which they will receive those type of players in the trade deadline. How much did that impact it, you think?
A considerable amount, because think about the opposite way. No manager goes from a highly resourced team to some small market that doesn't spend unless they are forced to, right? Unless they have no other option. So the fact, right, no one goes backwards. They only move forwards. Andrew Freeman went from Tampa Bay to Los Angeles. Madden went from Tampa Bay to Chicago. Counsell's going from Milwaukee to Chicago. So I would imagine it's part of the equation along with the money, along with the new challenge. All of that, I think, is part of it. But I don't know for sure until we hear from Craig Counsell. But I would imagine those are all boxes to check. And I'm guessing the final one was staying in the Midwest near his home.
You know, the minute Craig Counsell went to free agency to be courted by other teams, to see this contract, to see the red carpet rolled out by them, I feel like the battle was already lost by the Brewers at that point. So therefore, to backtrack, the decision for him to not renew the contract was maybe the point where it was won and lost by the Brewers. What point in time was that when Craig Counsell made that decision to say, you know what, I'm letting the contract run out. I'm going to see what else is out there. You can trace it back to then to being when the Brewers lost out on this. When was that, and what were the circumstances surrounding that decision at that time?
It's like a free agent that says, oh, I'll consider signing back with my old team, right? They rarely do. Once in a while they do, but rarely they move on. So I think you're right. I think he kind of in his mind, unless he was blown away by Mark Antanasio, thought, okay, it's time for something different, maybe simply to get paid more in a bigger market. I would imagine the day he said, I'm not discussing this till after the season, and I'm not re-signing until after the season. I think that's the day that we all knew that he was more likely gone than to return. Now, that wasn't a for sure. I'm sure he'll say he considered Milwaukee, staying in Milwaukee for a nice pay raise. But go back a year when he became a guy without a contract past 23, I think is the moment we probably should have realized he's more than likely gone. Just like a free agent that plays out the string and then tests the market, more likely than not, those guys are gone. And I think the same thing was true with Craig Counsell here.
Talking with Jesse Rogers, ESPN.com baseball writer. You also see him on TV on SportsCenter Hits. On Kyle, Brust, and Nortman here across ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Ben Brust alongside Kyle Wallace and Brad Nortman. And Jesse, I think, obviously dissecting everything as it feels right now for Brewers fans is trying to process the emotional reaction. But the long-term play here is Matt Arnold, who, obviously David Stearns did a phenomenal job of setting this franchise up for success. Matt Arnold is the general manager. What type of manager can the Brewers get to even come close to replicating the success that Counsell had, taking them 5 of the last 6 years to the playoffs? They've been there 9 times in their franchise career.
How about they just trade managers, the Cubs and Brewers?
Yeah, you can't do sloppy seconds, Jesse.
I mean, that would be quite something if they went out and hired David Ross, wouldn't it? And that's the strange part. It's not like David Ross was the most underachieving manager of all time. Lost 100 games, get rid of him. He's the manager, if not for Craig Counsell. But I'm not sure that Ross is going to get an immediate job. Probably have to take a step back, like many managers do, from Andy Green to some other ones. I think it's going to be like I just mentioned Andy Green. I think there's going to be your usual cast of characters that get interviewed up there in Milwaukee. But you're right, keeping the tradition going of making the postseason is going to be a difficult task. This is why Counsell was so well sought after. He's one of the best in the game, and he was up in Milwaukee for a long time. So I can't tell you who it's going to be, but at least they have a blueprint, and I'm not sure they can match what Counsell brought, but they probably have the traits in mind, right? Because Counsell had a lot of them, and that's what they'll take out into the market and start interviewing people on.
The big thing in Brewers fans' mind is going to be how desirable is this place? Ben just asked you about the 5 out of 6 years making the playoffs. That's what we're worried about as Brewers fans. Are we able to get a manager here, but more importantly, are we going to be able to be competitive coming up here in the future? So how desirable is this job here in Milwaukee?
Well, it's pretty desirable. It's a good organization. I mean, look, it's not going to be for that Bruce Bochy type coming out of retirement, right, to make $6 million and win a World Series. It's probably going to be like a Stephen Vaught or someone like that. Remember, Craig Counsell wasn't highly touted or anything when he came down from the front office to manage. He was just a guy, and then you realize, he was a smart guy. I've known him forever and always liked him. Didn't know he'd be one of the best managers in the game. So you're always looking for that next one, and that's what I meant by they have the blueprint and the qualities and the attributes. Now let's see who fits that criteria. I think it's as desirable as anywhere else. If you want the highest payroll in the league, you're not going to come to Milwaukee, but you're also.
But talent-wise, does this team have talent? Like, are we talking about a team that's going to make the playoffs again next year, or was it Craig Counsell is the reason why they made the playoffs this year?
Well, I would give more credit to Counsell than the roster for sure. He that's one of his traits, bringing out the best in a team and maxing out collectively as a team. Yeah, that's going to be
Yolis Chassin was the starter against the Dodgers in the NLCS.
I'm not marking the Brewers down in the playoffs next year. This is a huge, huge loss. This is why the Cubs were willing to fire a guy they kind of liked and willing to pay $40 million. This is a big get, and this is why he interviewed at several places. So yeah, it's a huge hole to fill. There's no doubt about it. Can they make the playoffs next year? Of course. It's still just the manager. He doesn't pick up the ball or swing a bat. But it's a big loss and big shoes to fill. There's no other way around it. And they do have the talent, but the Cubs are coming. Cardinals are probably going to retool. Like, it's not going to be easy. Let's put it that way.
So for those who are wondering, how big of a loss is this, and what does a manager actually do? What did Craig Counsell do specifically that makes him such a sought-after manager?
Well, let me say this about managers. I was told this a long time ago. Okay, 30 managers. You could put them all in a hat, the name's in a hat, pull out a name, and he's probably just as good as the next guy. However, there's usually within the league 4 to 5 that are special, maybe 3 or 4 that don't deserve to be there. Everyone else is kind of in between. I think he was one of those special ones. Most people do. I think it's just a little bit of everything. Like, he just doesn't have gaps in his game. Certainly communication skills, certainly in-game managing. Now, not to say he doesn't make mistakes, of course. That's part of it. But where other guys make more mistakes, he makes less. Where other guys have bigger gaps in their managerial game, he doesn't. So just think of all the things it takes to be a good manager. He's better at it than most, or as good at it as some of the other great ones in the game, Bruce Bochy included. So that's the best way I can put it. It's just all the things you want out of a manager, he does better than most, from communication to in-game managing to getting the most out of players, which happens behind the scenes at spring training, closed-door meetings, that kind of stuff. You know it when you see it, and I think we all see that Craig Counsell is one of the best.
Jesse, thank you so much on a busy day for joining us here across ESPN Wisconsin. Talk to you soon, all right?
You got it, guys. Be well. See you later.
That's Jesse Rogers of ESPN.com breaking down the Craig Counsell move to the Chicago Cubs. Every time I say it, as someone who did not live in this state, went to school here, played professionally overseas, then I went back home, I made Wisconsin my home. The fact that I feel like a little bit of how did he do this, just 10 times is how everyone who's lived in this state for every second of their life is probably feeling right now. It's tough. I mean, he's going to manage the Chicago Cubs. It is the one place in which you think that the guy who is managing your team, who grew up in this state, who played for this team and has managed this team should know, man, it's tough. The money, I would have done it too, but it doesn't make it any easier. We hear from you. I see you, Alex, in Twin Lakes. I promise we'll get to you next. You've been on hold for 44 minutes. I appreciate you. 800-990-3776. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman breaking down Craig Counsell to the Chicago Cubs. And what's next?
A new era is ahead for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Betrayal.
This is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history.
Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs.
He chose the team that we hate here in Milwaukee.
Your place to react is 100.5 ESPN.
Ben Brust here for Legacy Exteriors. Make sure you give them a call, 608-221-3000, for all of your exterior needs, because they are the best in Dane County. Roofing, windows, gutters, siding, and decks. Can Legacy do it? You bet. They now offer 4-season sunrooms as well. If you're looking for an improvement on your home, whether it's the exteriors or something to enjoy all year long, Legacy Exteriors has it all for you. Legacy-exteriors.com or give them a call, 608-221-3000.
Former NFL player and Rose Bowl champion Tarek Saleh here for Carbon World Health. Carbon is much more than just another gym. They offer the best recovery in the area. Some of my favorites include red light therapy and cryotherapy. Improve your athletic performance, fitness and training results, speed up muscle recovery and reduce pain, and boost your mood with these simple and non-invasive treatments. Visit Carbon World Health today and ask for the ESPN Recovery Package. That's Carbon World Health.
Ruggability. we straight made that word up. How else to describe the otherwise indescribable, rugged, capable, incredible versatility and affordability of a Honda SUV? Car and Driver calls Honda the winningest brand in 10 Best history. Your kids will call it totally lit. But we like ruggability, and you'll like the incredifantabulous deals, so see your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin.
Win a Coors Light full court experience with a trip to Minneapolis this March. Sign up now at participating locations around Madison to win an all-inclusive trip to the Men's College Basketball Conference Tournament. Don't miss your shot. Enjoy Blue Mountains and the best men's hoops in the Midwest. One lucky winner will be announced on Rutledge and Hamilton on January 8th. Visit Scotty Bar, Lucky's, Jordan Big Ten Pub, Nitty Gritty, Wando's, and Pooley's to scan the QR code and enter today. Must be 21 or older to enter. No purchase necessary.
With over 25 years of experience, TLC Laser Eye Centers is a leader in LASIK. TLC has performed over 2.3 million LASIK procedures nationwide, including treatment for over 10,000 doctors and professional football player Kirk Cousins.
TLC Laser Eye Centers is a brand that's proven and can be trusted. This was not a procedure I wanted to cut corners on. I wanted to get the best quality and the best doctors and make sure that it was done to the highest level. And I felt that TLC was the brand that would do that. And so it made the decision easy for me and for my wife.
Come see why TLC is the doctor's choice for LASIK and the choice for Kirk Cousins. Right now, TLC Laser Eye Centers is offering $1,000 off LASIK when treated in November. That's $500 off per eye plus guaranteed financing. Visit tlcoffer.com today to schedule your free consultation. Must mention this promotion and be treated in November of 2023 to qualify. $1,000 off for both eyes on standard wavelength price. $500 off for one eye. Cannot be combined with any other offers. See details at tlcoffer.com.
Big trailers and big opportunity. Since 1962, Stoughton Trailers has been a family-owned and operated business. With competitive wages and excellent benefits, plus growth and advancement opportunities, Stoughton Trailers is an exciting place to grow your career. Join the collaboration, innovation, and dynamic team atmosphere at Stoughton Trailers, with positions now open in production, operations, finance, sales, engineering, supply chain, and more. Go to stojobs.com to apply today. Stoughton Trailers, big opportunity.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Just gonna stand there and watch me burn. Well, that's alright, because I like the way
The Green Bay Packers got a win yesterday.
Just gonna stand
after losing 4 straight. Got off the schneid. But the news that nobody saw coming. I mean, it's the truth. Nobody had reports of potential backdoor meetings starting in November 1st of Craig Counsell meeting with the Chicago Cubs. He's meeting with the Guardians. He's got permission from the Brewers to interview with the Mets. And next thing you know, today, snap your finger, boom, Craig Counsell becomes the manager of the Chicago Cubs, making $8 million a year over 5 years, $40 million. It is reported that the Brewers were offering $5.5 million per year, which still would have made him the highest paid manager in baseball. But that $2.5 million gap per year over 5 years, that's $12.5 million. You're a finance guy, Brad. You got that?
Yeah.
$12.5 million more dollars going to the Cubs. But again, it's the Cubs.
You know, the first time he comes out in the Cubs manager gear with the Chicago blue hat,
it's
just going to feel icky. It's going to feel icky.
I understand, right? We've done the take emotion out of it. You're offered this, what do you take? But the idea of what feels like one of our own in the state of Wisconsin putting on that jersey, doesn't it give you the heebie-jeebies?
It does. I can't blame him, but it's still like, Makes me feel icky.
Why even listen? Like if you can say no, thank you. Like you don't. If you truly care about allegiances and if you care about Milwaukee, and you say, hey, your agent said, hey, Chicago, they're interested in talking to you. You can always say no. I'm sure there's teams that he said no. I mean, heck, if a bottom feeder team were to offer him $9 million a year, would he go there? No. And so you can sometimes say no because you don't want to be tempted, right? You don't want to have that carrot being dangled in your face because you know what it means if you go there. If they give you something you like, then you have to make that tough decision. He had every opportunity to say, no, thank you, I'm not interested, but he decided not to.
I wonder if there was any part of him. Well, the answer is probably no, because we're speaking from a fan's perspective, right? You're thinking, okay, I'm a Brewer. If the Cubs offered me anything, well, I hate the Cubs. There's no way I could ever accept an offer there. Leads me to believe that it's not how he viewed the Cubs, right? And he didn't hate him. Doesn't hate him like we do. Obviously, now he's a manager. He's got to love him.
Well, he might have, but money always talks. I always say everyone's got a price. Alex in Twins Lake. You have it Twins Lake here. I feel like it's Twin Lakes. Welcome into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, that's pretty good. I don't really blame him for the money. I mean, $2.5 million. I mean, who wouldn't do that? I blame the Brewers organization, same as always. I mean, you've seen the man pulling his hair out, trying to make something out of nothing in the dugout, trying to string together a bunch of 200 hitters to try to somehow scratch out runs. And I mean, good Lord, the anxiety that guy had trying to make something out of nothing and not getting any help from the front office. I mean,
you make a good point real quick. It is fascinating how many times you look at the lineup and see how many people are close to the Mendoza line of batting 200, and they won the division. And you know what I mean? Like, credit where credit is due. You got to give him, he did give him his all, but it can still hurt at the same time. It's a lot of emotion to take in.
Oh, it does. I mean, I'm to the point I don't think I'm going to fool with baseball next year. I mean, if they go on a run, we all know that I'll pick up the TV and start watching it again. It's just our nature. But man, if they're going to keep putting this crap on the field and then not even be able to go all out for the one area that they don't have luxury tax or anything in and not do it, I would like to hear whether or not he gave the Brewers a right of first refusal, though, once he got the offer.
Yeah, I don't think the Brewers would have done it regardless of that information. Appreciate the call. Thank you for holding, Alex. Again, the Brewers wouldn't have done it. If we're being honest with ourselves, the only reason why the Brewers offered $5.5 million is because it is a good PR save. They're smart.
What if he would have said yes? What if he would have said, yeah, I'm coming back? Then is that PR? It's just
not to
real.
$5.5 million. He was never coming back to $5. I'm saying,
but it's not realistic to think that the Brewers are going to offer much. If you're a Brewers fan, you're mad because we let him walk because we didn't want to match $8 million per year. You don't understand the market that we are in. There's no way the Brewers. That's not responsible. That's not fiscally responsible to offer a manager to be the highest paid manager in baseball to be right here in Milwaukee. Impossible.
I think that's what makes me. My first reaction is like icky and gross, and how could he do this? And this is wild. Although I can't blame him for it. But my next thing is not hopelessness for the Brewers, but you see David Stearns leave, you see Craig Counsell leave. These guys that are the architects of what we've experienced. The golden era. And they left
the golden era, no championships.
And they left for more.
Yeah, but there was no championships when they weren't making the playoffs.
Yeah,
at least you had a chance.
I feel further than ever. I feel further than ever from the World Series.
What team do the Buffalo Bills say the golden eras all them times they went to and they actually went to a Super Bowl? That's their golden era
for sure.
Is that not pathetic? Do we look at the Bills?
Would you rather not have made the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years? Damn it!
The World Series than make the playoffs. I want to win a championship.
Craig is literally taking bums and making them good and giving them an opportunity.
Do you feel closer or further from the World Series today?
Actually, I personally feel like I'm optimistic for next year.
You're such a clown.
I'm not a clown.
That is ridiculous.
No. In reality, if you look at this roster and you look at this team, you are still. And I don't want to go too in depth, and people are going to bore people. But you're still going to have William Contreras, who was one of the better catchers in Major League Baseball. Sal Frelick came on and he popped last year.
Naming names of young players does not mean it's going to equate to a manager that you don't know that can win with them.
Dude, there are so many managers. There's 30 actually. 30 managers in
Are
baseball.
there 30 of them that
and a
are
lot of
getting paid $8 million next year?
But the guy who was the runner-up ain't getting paid that much. We don't even know his name, and he made it to the World Series. Look at the past World Series managers, and at least one or two, you'd be like, oh, okay.
The NL Rookie of the Year, they had so much more talent than the Brewers. That's why.
What I'm saying is this, though. A manager matters, yes. But you guys are acting like you can't win. Ned Yost was the manager for the Brewers. They got fired, and he won a World Series. So all I'm saying is this, is that managers just as long, they've been in baseball long enough, there's an evaluation period that you go through when you figure out who you're going to hire. I trust in this organization to find a guy that's going to make us competitive. Craig Counsell is not the only manager to walk earth here. He's not the only manager to take us to a playoffs. He might be one of the few managers that taking us to a playoffs, but he's not the only person.
You're devaluing what he did.
Well, and it's organizational. You can't hold on to David Stearns. You can't hold on to Craig Counsell. You can play like one player a big deal. It's so hard for the Brewers to have success, and now we're seeing these other organizations gobble up all the talent that the Brewers help make.
When you mention other managers, that's fine, but they're not in the situation of the smallest market in doing what Craig has done with the 20th in the league payroll.
So when this team hires another manager and the Milwaukee Brewers again make the playoffs again, are we going to sit here, we're going to poo-poo and be all upset about like, oh, we lost Craig?
No, you better hold the same heat if he doesn't win you a World Series.
No, I am going to be upset he doesn't win a World Series. I was happy to keep Craig Counsell, but I wasn't disappointed to see him leave. I'm upset that he went to Chicago. But at the end of the day, we're acting like this guy isn't replaceable. Everybody, literally, everybody in this
You
world
just heard it, ESPN.com, NFL writer.
I don't care what Jesse Rogers has to say.
Guess what?
I'm telling you what Kyle
You don't
Walker's
even
got
know
to
the
say.
name of managers of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I know. We don't know the name of a lot of these people that you don't
And so
follow,
somebody who follows it tells you that if you put all the managers, all 30 of them, in a bag, he's one of the 3 or 4 special managers, and you're just thinking, oh, you know what? No worries. We'll just replace him. That's a clown take. It is a clown take to not give any respect to what Counsell did.
Him respect.
He's made the playoffs more times than anybody who's managed this franchise.
I thank you. I'm very appreciative of that. But now
You're not.
Yeah, I am.
Because you just think it's just going to happen by whoever they hire. It doesn't work like that.
He can move on, and I can't move on and be optimistic. What?
But you have to be optimistic about something that's real. You don't know what's real.
I do.
You're watching Josh Hader get traded. You're watching David Stearns go. You're watching Craig Counsell go. You're going to watch Corbin Burns go. You're not going to be carrying that same optimism.
So what we're saying is that this team has no chance. Like, it's just all Craig Counsell. It has nothing to do with these players. Craig Counsell was up there batting, right? Craig Counsell was out there pitching. He was out there. No. I'm saying that Craig Counsell played a big role in this, but I'm not going to be disrespectful to the 26 players on the roster that actually went out there
You
and
should,
played
because
each and every day.
I'm
not going to do that.
Jesse Winker really helped the team. He's making more money than Craig Counsell would on his next contract.
He's a player. Coaches never.
They signed him as a free agent, and he's not helping the team.
They traded for him. Okay, they acquired him. That's what they did.
Regardless,
so they had him for this year. He sucked, and they're going to let him go. He's going to move on. And so you can't pay a manager as much as you are paying players here in Milwaukee. That just does not make sense. It does not make sense at all. And I'm not going to sit here and disrespect these players as if they had nothing to do with their own success. These men work hard during the offseason, in the regular season, and earn the opportunity to have the chance to be coached and managed by Craig Counsell, who brought the best out of them.
Whatever the over-under is for the team, I'll bet the under, just because you don't understand the impact that this will have on the franchise.
Okay, for the World Series, you need everything, don't you? You need an elite manager. You need an elite team. You need everything, and that's just one major component of it. You need the players to play for sure, but you also need a manager to do his job and to be an elite level manager as well. So I think that's the thing. We had it in the building. The Brewers had an elite level manager in the building, and we lost.
And we lost. So okay, you know what? You failed. You know what? You pick yourself up and you try again. That's what Aaliyah told me. Okay, so we're gonna go pick ourselves
that's the next
up,
move.
and we're gonna try again, and we're gonna try to hire somebody else, and we're gonna see what happens. But at the end of the day, we fired a guy at Ned Yost, and he won a championship somewhere else. And I trust that one day we're gonna catch lightning in a bottle, and we're going to be World Series champions here.
Trusting we're going to catch lightning in a bottle.
Well,
that is
Cubs. The Cubs just paid somebody $8.5 million, hoping that he's going to take them to a World Series. You see,
Not hoping, knowing that they have the resources and the money to make it happen.
It's hoping. You can have all the resources. The teams that pay the most in baseball don't always win. So at the end of the day, there's no guarantee.
They have a better chance.
There's no guarantee. You said we had a better chance because we made it to the playoffs 5 or 6 years, and you know what? We lost every single time. So at the end of the day,
but you have more of a chance if you go 5 of 6 times than 0 times.
Sure, I'd rather be the Kansas City Royals and celebrate our first ever championship to sit here and talk about our losses. That's all. We're losers, Ben. We are losers. His playoff record is worse. Like, he has a losing record in the playoffs. Where the hell do you celebrate losers at in the playoffs, Ben?
Ron and the Key, welcome into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Ron, going once. Chris, you got him? Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah? Are you here?
Yes, go.
All right. Kyle, I was borderline thinking it was like Greg's being the most loyal Aaron Rodgers fan, that this was a bit, and you just wanted to have crosstalk, but it seems like you truly just, I don't understand. You just said it's fiscally irresponsible to pay a manager in Milwaukee that amount of money, right? So is it fiscally irresponsible? Yeah, so it's fiscally irresponsible for Craig not to take the money. What does he owe any of us?
He's the one who made
You are
the video.
working down the dial. You are working down the dial if they pay you double, much less 4 times, much less 8 times.
Listen.
It's a business.
I don't even know. I don't know what else is on the dial but 94.5 ESPN, 101.7 The Truth, and 620 WTMJ. That's all I know. I don't know what else is out there because it ain't worth my time.
I'll respectfully not believe you. I can't prove it.
Thank you, Ron. 800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-3776. Craig Counsell will move past him for a second, turn our attention to the Green Bay Packers. They won. Are you feeling better about that, or does this just ruin your day? We'll find out from you next.
Betrayal. Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs. Your place to react is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Chime in on the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line, 800-990-3776.
Ben Brust here for Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. It's been over 4.5 years I've worked with Zimbrick European, and it's time for you to stop on by and check out all the inventory they have to offer. You can also go to ZimbrickEuropean.com for certified pre-owns, Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, electric vehicles. They literally have it all for you. It's your one-stop shop. Don't forget about Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans as well. Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Check it out. You will enjoy it.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Whether you're an artist playing accountant, a barista trying to be a bean counter, or a student just looking to get started, the UW Credit Union app lets you be free to be you. With free credit scores, free online bill pay, and the ability to send money to friends. Because with fewer fees, you can do more of what you love. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today at uwcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Love is in the air and behind center for your favorite football team. SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin knows that the kitchen is the heart of your home. Let them help you fall in love with it again. In just a few days, SprayNet can have your kitchen cabinets looking like the day you first saw them. Their exclusive painting technology and technique will create a new look for your kitchen that is quick, affordable, and beautiful. Schedule an appointment today with Dale, the owner of SprayNet of Southern Wisconsin. Go to spraynet.com.
Madison Computer Works knows using computers is more dangerous than ever. Scammers try to scare you and steal your information or money. Emails try to phish your login and password. Online pop-ups and messages try to trick you, telling you there's something wrong with your computer, even when there's not. Madison Computer Works can protect you from these threats. Our computer care plans help stop the scammers and fix your computer problems. Call 608-231-8000 for the computer support you deserve. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
Liberty Station American Tavern and Smokehouse isn't just a barbecue restaurant. Fish fry, walleye, and vegetarian options are available, and they have a menu that's sure to please everyone. Liberty Station smokes their meats daily with a 1,000-gallon custom smoker, giving you the freshest experience possible. Enjoy happy hour with daily discounts on both food and drinks at their large bar with 20 draft taps and multiple TVs to watch the big game. Be sure to check out their sprawling patio with an indoor and outdoor porch area too. Liberty Station off the Beltline on Rimrock Road.
How can physical therapy serve up pickleball injury prevention? Join physical therapist Emily Devine, DPT, for a free class to learn about the common injuries associated with pickleball and ways to help prevent them to keep you off the bench this pickleball season. Thursday, December 7th from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Online or in person in the Bryant Health Education Center at Stoughton Hospital, 900 Ridge Street. To register, please visit stoughtonhealth.com and click on Classes and Events. Online participants will receive a Zoom link.
Experience, knowledge, and results. That's what you need when you've been in a serious truck accident. Call Gruber Law Offices. We've successfully helped people injured by big trucks for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hey, it's Hunter Vaughn. ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see teams making an impact in their community. Nominate your local team today at ESPNMadisonGameChangers.com.
This is Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Bad blood. You know it used to be mad love. So take a look what you've done. 'Cause baby, now we got bad blood.
Craig Counsell to the Chicago Cubs. If you missed any of the opening reaction, you can catch it at Kyle, Brust, and Nortman wherever you get your podcasts, or go to Wisconsin On Demand. Jen Latta joined. Jesse Rogers joined. Terrence and Tosa joined. Dom Catronio joined. Gabe Neitzel joined. A whole lot of people chimed in as we were here as Craig Counsell. $8 million a year, 5 years to the Chicago Cubs. 800-990-3776. That being said, the Green Bay Packers got a victory yesterday. And although it was not pretty, they got it done. And to me, I find it hard after thinking about what we watched the last 4 weeks of getting too excited over this one. I definitely want to hear from Kyle, because Kyle, when we have gone through this Packer season, we know there's going to be ups and downs. You had lost hope, and I think it'd be interesting to see where you're feeling, especially after a win against a team that was missing their quarterback, and in how much you want to put into a victory like this in Jordan Love's development.
Oh, we're talking about the Packers, huh?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that was Did it feel exciting?
No.
That's the whole thing, is that when you're watching it, you're like, oh, we won, but then you're like,
It was like,
yeah,
we won.
Yeah, like the takeaway, like honestly, the takeaways are as deep as me just being excited that young players actually had a chance to play and they actually shined. They did a good job. They weren't superstars, but they did their job. That is my takeaway. I still feel like Christian Watson is a little bit more charming than I would like him to be. Romeo Doubs really didn't pop out. Jordan Love, I guess, statistically played well. He still has some underthrows. I mean, there's nothing I come away like I'm super excited about. I mean, there was some. You look at things, you're like, okay, well, that was decent, but you don't come away like, okay, this team's on the right track. But you do come away saying, okay, well, look at Lucas Van Ness and all these guys on the D-line or at safety position starting, or Carrington Valentine. Like, those are the things that you take away. You don't think this team is good. You just say, okay, well, maybe we got some guys for the future.
Well, and there are some games this year, look at the Broncos, look at the Raiders, where they played bad teams and should have won, and they still lost. This was playing a bad team and actually won this time around.
So dominated, I guess.
At least it's some step forward.
It was 7-3 for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
I don't
Dominated defensively. Offensively, it's still I'm scratching my dreads right now because that's me, a head scratcher.
It was still ugly. It was still they're still not a good team. But it's good to see some step forward, even if small. At some point, these rookies and these young guys need to take a step, right? And it felt like some guys did. Musgrave looked as good as he had all season.
Scored a touchdown,
which was a great play design, might I say, by Matt LaFleur. one of the few great play designs.
Dang.
But there are guys where you're looking at and like, we need to see something. We need to see any kind of step forwards. And this was a baby step forward. It doesn't change how I feel about this team. I think they're in a rough gauntlet these next 4 games, and we're really going to see if any of this success can be translated in the future. But it's something. It just doesn't change how I feel about him.
So my biggest takeaway, and it was validated hearing Kyle talk about, like, it didn't really move the needle, didn't really make me feel that great. It almost would have been it's not almost. I truly believe that if they lose that game, it is better for the Green Bay Packers. It is better for them, because what is the only thing that matters this year? Jordan Love's evaluation. Is it good that Carrington Valentine played well after Rasul Douglas was traded? Yes. But in the grand scheme of things, it matters way less than figuring out if Jordan Love is your guy. And so if you win, you're moving yourself further away from the best draft pick you could possibly get. And now you're going through a phase where it's like, you just hope that he shows strong progress, where I can ask Kyle, hey, what'd you think? Well, I'm not going to lie. I've gone back and forth, but Jordan Love showed me something. I didn't hear that after beating the Rams. And that's where it's like, all right, we're at 8 games. We're heading towards a 4-game stretch. We're going to learn a lot more. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a defense where if he plays well, I would be like, you know what? That's an encouraging sign. The offensive line gave him plenty of time. And even with that, it felt like it just wasn't as easy or as fluid as it should have been.
I'm telling you, the frustration is going to start coming in is when you have to see games like C.J. Stroud. And granted, C.J. Stroud was a top 4 pick, so I understand that it's a difference. But one guy is in his 9th NFL game, and another guy's been in the league now 4 years. And so we see a guy like C.J. Stroud pop. You see a guy like Will Levis pop. You see all these other guys pop. You want Jordan Love to pop. And we've only really had him pop twice this season. We haven't seen, other than week 1, a complete game yet from Jordan Love. Yesterday, they didn't win because Jordan Love put the team on his shoulder, put the team on his back. I know conditions were rough, but that wasn't a Jordan Love type game. It was the defense giving you every opportunity to have a short field to be able to score. It was not that this offense was a juggernaut yesterday. So I think that's where you get a little bit nervous, is that you just still haven't had that big game. We want to stack good games and performances on top of each other. So going into Pittsburgh this week, if he's able to play well and be the reason why this team's in that game or the team's winning, then you feel better. But right now, you just still come away not knowing whether or not you're ready to sign Jordan Love for the future.
But what if, and this is big if, right? If these rookies keep popping in similar ways that C.J. Stroud pops, and he's popped all year, what if you start winning games because of that? What if you start to see really good play out of Musgrave?
I can't do that what if until I have a reason.
But this was a small step forward in doing that, because you're saying it would be better if the Packers just lose. What if they win because
I'm not saying if they just lose. I'm saying that the way that game played out, like if you lose, it feels better because the last 4 games, no one had any real juice about the future, and then just kind of not really dominating. The defense played well, but guess what we know about the defense? I'm glad we know
they will dominate bad teams.
Exactly,
yeah,
but they will be exposed against teams who have adequate offenses. So it's that's great that they played well, but we need to we didn't learn that they could play well and stop the run against a very good team. And so it's just tough to holistically look at that game and be like, you know what? Everything is in the step in the right direction. Sure, it was good to see Musgrave do some things, Carrington Valentine, but they're not as important as figuring out who your QB is going to be long term. And that's the thing, is when we know, hey, we need some windows and doors, we know to go to Gina Della from Pella.
That's right. We can always rely on Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, because we can't control so many things out there. You can't control where Craig Counsell is going to be managing next year. You can't control what the weather is going to be outside, rain at the Packer game, but you can control your energy costs. And you can do that by replacing those old drafty windows and doors with Pella windows and doors, and you can have them installed in as little as 6 weeks. Think about that. In as little as 6 weeks, you can be experiencing the cost savings of heating and cooling your home that Pella windows and doors can offer. And you can take even more advantage by having a no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. So set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
More. We'll hear from you as well. I see you on the text line. I see you on YouTube at ES Milwaukee, 800-990-3776. Craig Counsell of the Cubs, Packers get it done, but do you feel good about it? 800-990-3776.
This.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. Despite entering Saturday's game against Indiana as 9.5-point favorites, the Wisconsin Badgers now 5-4 after the loss. Here's head coach Luke Fickell after the game.
Obviously, really disappointing. For all of us, a lot of reasons, a lot of things out in front of us. The whole objective today was to come out, create our own energy, start fast. And probably the number one thing we didn't do was come out, create energy, and start fast.
The Badgers will have another opportunity this Saturday as they host Northwestern to become bowl eligible for the third longest streak in the nation, 22nd year in a row.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round. No interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Visit PellaWI.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. I joined the Princeton Club because I was looking for a place I could invest in my health, and the environment and the community I have felt has made it so easy for me to incorporate it into my everyday life. It doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey because they have something to offer everyone. It also goes beyond fitness. From the moment you walk in the club to the moment you walk out, there is a togetherness felt throughout the members and staff that keeps you going for your better tomorrow. Don't wait any longer and get started on your fitness journey today at PrincetonClub.net. That's PrincetonClub.net.
Hey, it's Hunter Vaughn. ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see teams making an impact in their community. Nominate your local team today at ESPNMadisonGameChangers.com.
Betrayal.
This is the biggest betrayal in Wisconsin sports history.
Craig Counsell is headed to manage the Chicago Cubs.
He chose the team that we hate here in Milwaukee.
Your place to react is 100.5 ESPN.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wildick for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Take your shot at $20,000. Pink Lemonade meets exceptionally smooth vodka. Pink Whitney, what a legend. This fall, for a limited time at participating locations around Madison, scan the QR code at point of purchase to take your shot at $20,000 instantly. That's right, a chance to win $20,000 instantly, courtesy of Pink Whitney. Watch for the QR code at participating locations, including W, Chasers 2.0, and the Nitty Gritty. 3 locations in Sun Prairie, Madison, and Middleton. Must be 21 or older to enter. No purchase necessary.
Spend Black Friday at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison and you got a chance to make it a Cash Friday. On Friday, November 24th from 5 to 8 p.m., 21 winners will spin the prize wheel and take home between $500 and $5,000 cash each in our Cash Friday promotion. Plus, November 24th is Ho-Chunk Day, and we're celebrating by giving the first 500 guests that visit our Rewards Club booth $25 in rewards play. Make Cash Friday part of your holiday tradition at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
Madison area residents, Ridgetop Exteriors is offering free 101-point inspections for roofing, siding, windows, and gutters due to recent high winds and hail in your area. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today before winter weather sets in or visit ridgetopexteriors.com. That's ridgetopexteriors.com.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
You got me loose and set me free. You make me win every way. You show me how to spread
Get to and from every every Green Bay football game this season safely and have a great time. Milwaukee Broadhouse, Jack's American Pub, and Wanakee Golf Course all offer transportation on game days. There's still room for November 19th, and their bus services have restrooms on there with all-you-can-drink packages. And then when you get up to Holmgren Way, go to the bar, and you can have the all-you-can-eat and drink tailgate experience at the bar at Holmgren Way. Make your game day experience a VIP. Win the official ride to Green Bay. Visit golfwanakee.com or MilwaukeeBroadhouse.com and book your trip using ESPN 23 to get 10% off. MilwaukeeBroadhouse.com, ESPN 23 to get 10% off. Kyle Brust and Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Ben Brust alongside Kyle Wallace. The heartbeat of the show bleeds green and gold. The Whitefish Bay graduate that will be picketing right outside Craig Counsell Field in Whitefish Bay, and then Brad Nortman alongside with us. The news of the day is Craig Counsell with the 5-year, $40 million agreement with the Chicago Cubs. Kyle says it's treason. Terrence from Tosa. Craig Coward.
He brought it.
I mean, look, it could have been any team other than the Cubs, and it was the Cubs. It was the Cubs that he chose, and it's the Cubs that's going to leave that bad taste in everyone's mouth. I mean, he did, believe it or not, tarnish his legacy. He did, no matter what. No matter what. I'm not saying he won't be remembered in 5 years and 10 years as someone who did great things for the Brewers and whatnot, but he forever tarnished his legacy, no matter what.
I just can't believe, I understand he did great things, but, do you celebrate coaches, managers who never win or get you to a World Series? You hear Harvey's wall bangers because that team actually went to the World Series, I believe, in '82. This team, we never went to the World Series. I understand he did great, but 20 years from now, oh, yeah, they made it to the playoffs 5 or 6 years. Who cares? You care about champions, man.
I will say it would have been an amazing story if he would have stuck with this team, a Whitefish Bay kid, if they would have, as you've talked about, this really talented young roster that's going through the ranks, and maybe there's a, whatever, fill in the blank, 5-year window, the same 5-year contract that he just signed with the Cubs, it could have been a really, really special thing. They would be building a statue for him then. But you're right. In 20 years, it'd be like, yeah, he was a talented manager. But as far as the Brewers are concerned, it was a great time to be a Brewers fan, a lot of success. But what could have been? Oh, what could have been?
262 chimes in. I want David Ross as the manager, and for him to win the World Series just to shove it in the Cubs and Counsell's face.
I don't want the scraps and leftover from the dirty Cubs.
Wouldn't that be great, though?
Listen,
I'm with Kyle.
Nothing,
I don't want a piece. If you have a bad taste in your mouth with Counsell going to the Cubs, why would you want something from the Cubs, especially sloppy seconds? If the Cubs didn't want him, why should you want him?
But what if he actually wins the World Series with the Brewers? Wouldn't that be so beautiful?
It would be.
It would be poetic.
Yeah,
but
it would be.
I don't want him here.
It's not a story that I think people want to attempt to write.
Yeah.
Whatever came from the Cubs that was good. To Milwaukee, at least.
Great question.
Crickets.
Got me.
Crickets.
There's a reason for that silence.
I don't want it.
Yeah, 800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-3776. Ryan McGuanago. I can't wait for all the Cubs fans' confidence to rise out of control. And then that day they are eliminated from the playoffs will be beautiful.
How nice would it be for us to play the Cubs and we eliminate the Cubs and Craig Counsell's in the playoffs? That would be great.
That would be awesome. I do think.
Now we're dreaming. Got to get to the playoffs again, which isn't good enough for you.
No. Here we go. The Brewers still have a chance to get to the playoffs.
I think about the game day atmosphere when the Brewers play the Cubs, and when those Cubs fans come up here that are already insufferable, as we talked about. There's already a high propensity for fights in the stadium. It is going to be. We'll have to increase security because I can already see Cubs fans talking smack and just trying to do whatever they can do to troll.
Mark Antanasio needs to pay Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather Jr. to come here to train these Brewers fans. Because to train Brewers, I'll be danged if they get Craig Counsell and then I see Brewers fans get knocked out at AmFam Field because we can't fight. Absolutely not. We need to get ready for this. It's going to be a brawl.
The antagonistic tailgate.
I've seen you get bullied by people at a comedy club.
I didn't say I was fighting. I'm not listening.
What happens if somebody's bullying you that's a Cubs fan?
Listen. Who am I with? Am I by myself? How deep are they?
You're with Brad.
Me and Brad, we'll take him.
Hey, we got him.
Brad's a big guy. We'll put
Brad,
Paul
how many
him.
fights you been?
Don't matter. Well, don't matter. Don't matter. We'll put some liquid courage in that man's system.
Yeah.
We gonna go whoop some beats.
I will defend my guys, and Kyle is my guy. I will defend him. I don't care if I have no experience.
Come on, Brad.
That's the guy you need to be scared of.
All right, maybe we shouldn't be putting it in the minds of Brewers fans right now to be ready to fight Cubs fans.
Yeah, true.
Brad, say you a head buster.
I'm a head buster.
He a head buster.
He's not a head buster. He's not a head buster. He's a punter.
He's a head
Can
buster.
a punter be a head buster?
Yeah, Pat McAfee looks like he might bust some heads.
Yeah, I think there are some out there. I might not be one of them.
That's
but
the
they're
punter
out
you
there.
need to be scared of. He a head
Yeah,
buster.
I don't even know what I don't know. That's scary. That's scary to think about.
Don't let him snap.
Coming up next in Madison is going to be Rutledge and Hamilton. In Milwaukee and Beaver Dam, we stay with you till 5 o'clock. I do want to cheers to and pour one out. The weekend's happened, and I want to pour one out to something